I'm Megan Lynch, KMOX News.
This hour of the Chris and Amy Show is brought to you by Fruitcake Fitness, because those holiday calories won't burn themselves.
It's the Chris and Amy Show.
Check it out. St. Louis, Mound City, we are going to have a great day today.
Now, Amy Mark scores Chris Ranji on KMOX.
Let's take it from the top.
It is a Tuesday morning. It is Amy Mark scores, but not Chris Ranji. We've got Michael Kelly in studio again.
Welcome back.
Well, look at this guy. Michael Kelly and John Hancock are, I think, the most important employees at not just KMOX, but at Odyssey in general. And that's incredible because you don't even check your emails.
No, we don't.
Yeah.
So maybe we got a little cachet around here because if they really want to talk to us, they text us. But this is our season. Like Hancock and Kelly, we show up a lot on KMOX now.
Yeah.
This time of year.
Well,
because you regular people decide you're going to go spend time with your families.
That's right. That's right. We just go out and about town, and you guys, somebody's got to man the ship.
Mm-hmm.
And by golly, it's Michael Kelly and John Hancock.
It is. Hancock would like you to say it, Hancock and Kelly. That really aggravates him if you put Kelly in front of Hancock.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah,
Hancock.
Well, take it up with him.
And Kelly.
I'm H&K. I'm fine with it.
H&K. Well, if you don't want to miss any H&K or miss any of this show, if you're listening to 1120 a.m., that's great. But 98.7 FM, crystal clear, especially along the Highway 40 corridor. And, of course, the Odyssey app. That's how I listen to KMOX literally all day long. I turn it on in the morning when I wake up, listen to Total Information AM. I can go back and rewind live radio if I miss anything. And whether you're shopping, exercising, doing, cleaning the house, whatever it is, you can take us with you on the Odyssey app. You can also, if you miss the show, listen to the podcast. Check out our podcast, the Chris and Amy Show podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. We also want to hear from you on Twitter at Chris Amy KMOX. You can also call or text us 314-436-7900. And lastly, because I think I forgot this yesterday, I buried the lead. The Odyssey app has the voice message feature. We love to hear from you. It's right there in the middle of the KMOX page on the Odyssey app. You click the microphone icon, you leave us a voice message, and you just might hear yourself on the radio.
Time now for the top of the order. The top 3 stories everybody will be talking about.
Well, the city of St. Louis was awarded the 2026 U.S. Figure Skating Championships. That is the last big championship before the U.S. figure skating team is selected. It'll be the Winter Olympics in Italy. We'll talk to Mark Schreiber, president of the St. Louis Sports Commission, later on in the hour.
We also have found out the identity of the shooter of the Wisconsin school attack. We found out it's a 15-year-old girl. We'll visit about that as this horrible scourge of violence in schools continues.
And, well, I guess back to the ice, the Blues. They host the New Jersey Devils tonight at 7 p.m. Well, go ahead.
Just real quickly on the Blues. The hockey schedule is so strange because they will play so much. I feel like they're playing a ton right now. And then we'll have stretches where they don't play for 5 or 6 days.
Yeah.
It's different than, obviously baseball and football. It's just not steady. And I feel like every night there's a Blues game.
Yeah, it does. It is like that, where hockey, it almost feels like sometimes there's a cluster of games, like a handful of games in just a few days. And then you might not have a game for 4 days.
Right.
Obviously, I guess it goes around with the travel schedule. And hockey is weird, too, because it's such a physical sport. It's not football.
Right.
Which football would be unsustainable to play back-to-back football games. I get it. It's not football, but it's not baseball.
No, Blues Blackhawks back-to-back, home and away.
That's
a grueling 48 hours.
You get pretty beaten up. That's why it's such a long season anyway, and in the playoffs, one of the more striking observations I had from 2019 that I had never seen firsthand is how gaunt, beaten up, bruised, and exhausted these players looked by the end of the playoffs, right? Because the playoffs start in April, they end in June. I mean, guys, Alexander Steen played that Stanley Cup final with basically a broken ankle, and you could You could hear the yells as they were like jamming his hockey skate on his foot, before the game. And guys would have black eyes and they just looked worn out, like their bodies didn't have time
Right.
to recover. That was something that I don't think I'll ever forget that. Like, man, this takes a toll. And I
Yeah.
get it. A lot of jobs do, and they're being compensated well.
Sure.
But I did have a new appreciation for that.
Well, their schedule's weird, but they play a lot over the holidays, and good for us because that's when we have a chance to go see them. And bad for us, Amy, that we continue to have shootings at schools.
Yeah.
This one broke yesterday while you and I were on the radio. It was in Wisconsin, believed to have been several people killed. There's still several people in the hospital. What's probably unique about this story, that's about a very ununique story, school shooting, is that this one was perpetrated or believed to have been taken and brought out by a young girl, a 15-year-old girl, and not with an AR, whatever they're called, but a small caliber handgun.
Yeah, really just tragic news. I know you see the headline on CNN in the middle of our show that there was an active scene, right? That there was a school shooting in Wisconsin, and your heart just sinks, your stomach drops. You don't know what the numbers are going to be right now. 2 people were killed, a student and a teacher. 6 were injured. I believe 2 are still critically injured. And then the shooter died of self-inflicted gunshot wounds, as you mentioned, a 15-year-old girl. Also, some more information coming out because in the chaos of the moment, it's hard to know, okay, how many people are injured? Where are people being brought to in the hospital? A second grader is the one who called 911 first.
Mhm.
Doesn't say how the second grader called, like the second grader had a phone or if there was a phone in the classroom, which also could make sense as well
Sure.
for a second grade class in a small school. So we don't know, but we do know that a second grader believed to be 7, 8 years old was the first one to call 911. And yeah, Michael, like you said, this is
It's an American story.
it's an American phenomenon. It really is an American tragedy. This is something that we see. And with the school shootings, there was a story in the New Yorker years ago, and I believe Malcolm Gladwell wrote it, but it looked at school shootings. It looked at really Columbine, which was the first big one that people knew
remember it.
about.
Yeah.
And they were afraid that there would be copycats because of the manifesto and because of what the boys did, the shooters did. And they said, okay, here's the thing. We are seeing an increase in school shootings. And it's not just that we have more and more kids who are suffering, whatever it is they're suffering from, like psychologically, evil intent, whatever it is. It's not so much that we have more and more of those kids. It's that the threshold for deciding to take this action is lowered with every school shooting. It's the riot theory. It takes a little bit more anger, rebellion, evil to be the first person to throw a brick through a window. But then the second person throws a brick through a window. And once there have been 10 bricks, a lot of people who maybe wouldn't have thrown the first brick, they start throwing bricks. And they said with school shootings, what we're seeing now, yes, we have a lot of kids with severe mental issues, anger, whatever it may be, malintent. We have easy access to guns, but we also have a lowering threshold for taking this type of action.
Yeah, but we also have numbed ourselves into acceptance.
Yeah.
I remember Columbine. It was, what was it, 96, 97, somewhere after that. It maybe a little later than that even. But I remember the Today Show, Amy, for 2 weeks was in Colorado, in front of Columbine, and we were covering it. And it sure felt over the last couple of decades that we heard about, Boston Strong and New York Strong and St. Louis Strong, all these cities who had dealt with shootings, and we've been lulled into accepting it. A school shooting has happened right here in the city of St. Louis.
Yeah.
It literally has happened everywhere, and we seem to be accepting it. Yesterday, this broke on the news. We didn't cover it because we didn't know much, but I can promise you 10 years ago, with, CBS would have broken in here and we would have had coverage of it. We lulled ourselves into acceptance. I think particularly about the shootings of the kids that took place up in Massachusetts,
Sandy Hook.
Yeah.
Connecticut,
And
I think.
when we made a decision as a country, I'll never forget Mitch McConnell saying there's just not an appetite to deal with this right now, that we weren't going to take any incremental action then when 30 babies had been slaughtered. That I don't know that we're fully capable as a society of actually fixing this problem because we're accepting it. Not to mention the fact that you're saying dealing with the causes of what's doing it. And, we're going to talk about a number of them here, mental health, etc. But there is one common, and that is this easy access to guns. I don't remember any squabbles when I was in high school where people thought, oh, I can get a gun. I wouldn't even know where to have gotten a gun when I was in high school, much less a gun or weapon of war. Now, I mean, guns are, as accessible as Happy Meals.
Yeah, it is. It's a bit overwhelming, just the amount of grief and trauma that these school shootings cause. And I do think the conversation, as you mentioned, goes there. We can have bipartisan and even pro Second Amendment gun laws to clean up what's going on. And for instance, some very red states, bastions of conservatism like Florida and Arizona have enacted red flag gun laws, which have helped prevent not just school shootings, but domestic violence, like guys, usually husbands who are very violent towards their wives. And a red flag law, I think it was enacted in Florida since Parkland. It was enacted in Florida. I think it was like 8,000 times these red flag laws have been enacted. And they take a very, very high burden of proof, right? To say this person has questionable behavior, suspicious behavior, and it has to be from a close person. It can't be a rando. It has to be like a spouse, a parent, a teacher, a pastor. And the thing is, Florida is still very pro Second Amendment. And while I get people may be saying, well, we don't even know, criminals get guns and we don't know if it would have prevented this shooting. But what if it had prevented one? What if it had prevented Uvalde or prevented a wife from being killed?
But I would not suggest that it's only a gun debate we're going to have over the next couple of hours and its days. We're going to hear a lot of talk about mental health. And I recently had an experience with mental health that was shocking to me. We as a society are saying that we need more access to mental health. I know of someone who was in crisis who had attempted to take their life. We got them to a hospital. When they were in that hospital, there are no psych beds for folks. So they were able to treat this individual for the immediate issue they were dealing with, but ultimately there's a longer term issue here. And the reality is the amount of psych beds have shrunk in this country. So we're going to talk about mental health. I'm for talking about mental health while we're talking about guns. But let's be honest, folks, we've got to invest in this stuff because it's going to continue if we don't address it. And it's a great talking point to talk about mental health. But the access of mental health care in this country is dismal.
He's Michael Kelly. I'm Amy Mark Scores. Michael did bring up a rather shocking poll about young people and their feelings towards the murder of the United Healthcare CEO. We've got those results. It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
The county just requested more electric charging stations.
Orders have really amped up at Able Electric.
We need 3 more at First and Main, and we just got another hotel chain.
It's no shock. Able Electric needs able electricians.
Grocery store wants charging stations too.
And fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. Put our matching platform to work so you can spend less time searching and more time connecting with talented candidates. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest. The last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
You entrusted a nursing home with the care of a loved one, but they violated that trust. If your family member has been the victim of nursing home neglect, call Onder Law at 844-BED-SORE.
We know you have a lot on your holiday to-do list. And at the UPS Store, we're here to help. With our pack and ship guarantee, your gifts will arrive intact or you'll be reimbursed. Got holiday cards to print? We're also the premier printing store. We've got everything you need for every way you holiday. Visit the upsstore.com/guarantee for full details. Most locations are independently owned. Product services, prices, and hours of operation may vary. See Center for details. The UPS Store. Be unstoppable. Come into your local store today.
Come on in to Total Wine & More. Prices much lower than a grocery store. Spirits, wine, beer for a whole lot less. Walking down the aisles makes you stop and say, yes! From mixing cocktails, a friendly get-together, or a brunch outdoors, Total Wine has everything you need, and more. With the lowest prices and best selection for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Hey, this is Charlie Brennan with a quick reminder. Schedule that annual eye exam. Routine eye exams not only diagnose vision changes, but can detect systemic diseases like diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol, thyroid disease, to name just a few. Do what I do. Call Ophthalmology Associates at 314-966-5000. The doctors there, Greg Birdie, Ranj Malhotra, Samuel Berry, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, will provide you with the area's most comprehensive eye exam. These doctors can also help with dry eye disease, the result of staring at screens, flying in airplanes, or living in a dry environment. Dry eye sounds harmless, but it can cause inflammation, blurred vision, and damage to the eye surface that's sometimes difficult to reverse. The doctors at Ophthalmology Associates are expert in diagnosis and treatment of dry eye disease. 314-966-5000, yourEyeDoc.com.
Paid for by government. Now is the time to fill your vault with Morgan Silver Bars. Grab your piece of America's silver legacy with this special offer. These spectacular shining silver bars featuring a crisp image of the iconic Morgan silver dollar, a legendary coin that has captivated collectors for generations. Americans treasure owning silver bars and coins, putting them away for themselves and their loved ones. Call now to secure 1-ounce silver bars minted in 99.9% pure silver and made in the USA. You'll be glad you did. Hurry, don't miss out on this special deal. Save $10 per silver bar. The more you buy, the more you save. Limit of 25 bars per customer. Call to learn more. Plus, with qualifying orders, you'll receive a free Morgan silver dollar. That's a $59.95 value and free shipping. Call 1-800-222-3871 now to secure your 1-ounce Morgan silver dollar bars. That's 1-800-222-3871.
Hi, this is Matt Pauley. I want to wish you, your friends, and family a very Merry Christmas. I hope this holiday season is filled with joy.
Happy holidays from JMOX.
A man with a family with kids, man. I mean, I have condolences. I'm gonna have real condolences for, the healthcare CEO. I mean, this is a real person, But you also gotta go, sometimes drug dealers get shot.
That's Chris Rock from Saturday Night Live, Amy, and I think he's verbalizing kind of what has bubbled up into a sentiment that's been quite shocking to me, as validated by a poll that says that 41% of young people 18 to 29 registered voters believe the murder of Thompson was either somewhat or completely acceptable. 41% of people think that an assassination of someone they may disagree with, someone they may have.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon, and I live in.
Had, who listens to Mark Reardon? Who knows?
Again, like you mentioned, 41%, 18 to 29-year-olds believe the murder of Thompson somewhat or completely acceptable. And I think one thing that I've been shocked at just from talking to people, from hearing from young people, reading, whether it be polls or reading interviews, it's between indifference. There's a lot of cavalier indifference, like, well, he's killed a bunch of people, so too bad for him. Cavalier indifference to joy, like someone like Taylor Lorenz, who is a, I don't know, quote unquote journalist, tracking online trends and young people. And she went on Piers Morgan to back up what she had written, that she felt a sense of joy. I mean, she posted some memes like, this is great. You know, what is his life worth if he doesn't care about the lives of people who have suffered from United Healthcare's policies?
But that's an absurd, but that's also an opportunist that's capitalizing on something that I think we all have experienced. And if you haven't, if you're fortunate enough to have healthcare, at some time or another, even in the most passive of relationships with your healthcare company, like me, I go to the doctor a couple of times, but you'll get a notice from the healthcare company that says, oh, well, this screen or this blood test was rejected. It's an extra $20 to you, etc. Well, that gets compounded with some of the more problematic things that exist out there, and people wind up dealing with their healthcare companies. And I guess people are focusing that anger at this man.
Mm-hmm.
I understand that people can be frustrated with this healthcare system, but boy, we've had lots of people try to reform the healthcare system, and people fight till their dying day to keep it the way that it is.
Yeah, and I get it. Like the healthcare system is messed up. I've had it personally close to me. Someone, extended family who didn't get the medicine that they needed, wasn't covered, and ended up losing their life because of it. So I get frustration at the healthcare system. But in America, in a healthy democracy, you don't resort to assassination or domestic terrorism, because that's what this is.
Right.
There are other methods, and you may think, well, we can't, it's too big. No, you cannot praise assassination and domestic terrorism. It's not only ignorant and criminal, it's also arrogant, because it's assuming, well, I'm cosmically right. That there's some kind of cosmic justice that I can supersede the law of the land and murder somebody because this is some type of cosmic justice where I'm right. You do realize that other people who may disagree with you on other very big issues may think that they're right and they're seeking cosmic justice. Then you could have a tit for tat of assassinations. We may as well just keep assassinating people. I mean, that's what you get in
you get a lawless society.
Chaotic, yes, lawless
Wild West
governments. Exactly right. Where suddenly, well, I'm not recognizing this government. I'm not recognizing this law. It becomes anarchy. And so to be so short-sighted as to praise the assassination of a CEO beyond the fact that you killed a father and a husband, to be so short-sighted that you could just subvert laws and democracy because you think you're more right than everyone else.
And I guess this is just a question, but because who knows what the answer is, but what's happening? What's happening that a 15-year-old girl goes to school and figures out that shooting a gun and shooting people is the way to resolve this issue? What's happening that this guy is becoming a cult figure because he's going out there and taking on a CEO or killing someone in cold blood? What's happening that the president of the United States had 2 assassination attempts? There's almost an acceptance going on in culture here, and maybe who knows?
He's Michael Kelly. I'm Amy Mark Scores. We are going to shift here because that's a conversation that will be continuing. We're going to talk with Mark Schreiber, president of the St. Louis Sports Commission. We've got the 2026 U.S. Figure Skating Championships here in St. Louis. It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon, and I live in the Fenton area, and I love that I have the largest locally owned sporting goods store right here where I live, Denny Dennis Sporting Goods. Their selection of hunting, fishing, firearms, and ammo is huge. Whether it's for you right now or for the outdoors person on your Christmas shopping list, check out Denny Dennis Sporting Goods in Fenton. Their prices and customer service will not be beat. Denny Dennis, where family traditions begin. I even bought my daughter a fishing rod recently, and memories are made forever. Denny Dennis on Gravois at the Merrimack River, Fenton, Missouri.
Hey guys, it's Dave and Rachel from the Dave Glover Show.
So Smart Mouth is the only mouth rinse in the world that has a chemical reaction that makes sure that your bad breath is gone for 12 hours at a time, which means 24 hours a day, 0 bad breath.
Yeah, all you have to do is rinse twice and you are covered for 24 hours. That means you never have bad breath. Plus, there's a product to fit whatever your needs are. To learn more, go to their website, smartmouth.com. usps.com/Glover. And while you're there, you can get a coupon for $2.50 off.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fira Capital Management for your retirement highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, registered investment advisors. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
Here's another great reason to use the United States Postal Service this season. Your boxes are wrapped and the gifts are in. Our employees are ready. Let the holiday ride begin. Let's start with the price. It's easy to manage when you ship with the reliable USPS Ground Advantage. In just a few days, it's sure to arrive. We're working nonstop to keep the spirit alive. USPS Ground Advantage, the affordable and reliable shipping solution for the holidays. Visit USPS.com/advantage.
Broadcasting from the Underlaw Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studios.
KMOX.
At 10:30, sun and 46 downtown at the Arch. A top Russian general's been killed by a bomb outside his apartment building in Moscow. CBS's Vicky Barker.
The slushy Moscow street outside the apartment building is cordoned off. At first, we just thought it was cement being mixed nearby. This woman says it was very scary. Just yesterday, Ukraine had filed war crimes charges in absentia against General Igor Kirillov, the head of Russia's nuclear and chemical weapons division. The U.S. was among the nations accusing him of deploying banned chemical weapons in Ukraine. Vicky Barker, CBS News.
Stall 70 east at Cypress, right shoulder. Stall 70 west at Adelaide on the right shoulder. And the forecast for today, sunshine, high 58. For tonight, clouds, a couple of showers, low 41. Right now, 46 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Did you know that now is the best time to top dress your lawn? St. Louis Composting has compost specifically created for top dressing. To learn more, visit stlcompost.com. That's stlcompost.com.
Local news can come at you fast. Want the latest on what's happening in your backyard? Download the free Odyssey app. Follow your local news station, and you'll get alerts on the top stories making headlines in your city. You can stay in the know, no matter what you're up to, and be among the first to find out when news breaks. Plus, keep tabs on weather and traffic, so you're never caught off guard. To get started, download the Odyssey app. That's AUDACY, and follow your local news station.
Here's another great reason to use the United States Postal Service this season. When sending a package, why venture outside? Ship with USPS for a true holiday ride. Want to stay cozy and warm? There's no need to roam with free package pickup and labels printed from home. We have over 600,000 employees always in motion. And before you know it, your gift has delivered emotion. Spread the holiday joy this season with USPS's Enhanced Network. Learn more at USPS.com/holiday ride.
For eligible individuals 18 and older with self-perceived mild to moderate hearing loss only. Results vary. See website for details and important safety information.
Hello, I'm Dr. Harvey Abrams, Head of Research Audiology at Jabra Enhance. Did you know there's a connection between untreated hearing loss and chronic conditions like cognitive decline and dementia? The good news is hearing aids can actually reduce these risks and help you stay connected. Today, I'm excited to tell you about my favorite hearing aids, the game-changing Jabra Enhance Select 500. Jabra Enhance offers an affordable solution for most common hearing problems with our best ever speech-enhancing capabilities for a mighty sound in a micro-sized package. Plus, with Jabra Enhance's premium package, you get 3 years of continuous remote care provided by licensed hearing healthcare professionals. No waiting rooms or long commutes. It's as easy as video chatting with a friend. Because at Jabra Enhance, our job is to help you hear and be heard.
Save $300 on Enhance Select 500 hearing aids automatically at checkout. Just go to JabraEnhance.com/radio. That's JABRA Enhance.com/radio. JabraEnhance.com/radio.
The Doctors of Ophthalmology Associates are pleased to welcome Dr. Samuel Berry to the practice. He joins Doctors Birdie, Malhotra, Brusati, and Royer as the Doctors' Doctors. 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com.
If it's happening in sports, Bernie Nicholas talks about it. Monday and Friday on The Dave Glover Show on KMOX.
Michael Kelly, Amy Mark Scores with you on a sunny Tuesday. And some really good news for the city of St. Louis, which is nice because I know there have been some down stories lately, but this is a good one, and this is a big one. The city of St. Louis has been awarded the 2026 U.S. Figure Skating Championships. It's a week-long event. It will be held at the Enterprise Center from January 5th through the 11th in 2026, and it will culminate with the naming of the U.S. Olympic figure skating team ahead of the Winter Games in Italy. And to give us some more information about this event and how St. Louis landed such a prestigious event is Mark Schreiber, president of the St. Louis Sports Commission. Mark, thank you for joining us today. You've got to be pretty excited right now.
Hi, Amy. Hi, Michael. And thank you for having me on. And yes, we're ecstatic about this. It's a great win for us. So very exciting news yesterday.
Because wouldn't you say, I feel like watching I've been an Olympic super fan. I cry every day watching the Olympics, the montage and the life stories. I love the Olympics. And I would say in the Winter Olympics, the figure skating's got to be the premier event, right? For so many people.
That's what I would say. I called it the most popular Winter Olympic sport. I think it does the best in the ratings. So, it's one of those things. What I love about this event is it's sort of very mainstream. Like sometimes what we do is more niche, like the NCAA wrestling championships. That's a core of sort of hardcore college wrestling fans. But I think when the Olympics roll around, a lot of people pay attention to figure skating. So this one has mass appeal. All our events we love, and each of them have their own great assets to them. But like I said, the mass appeal of this one, as you alluded to, is really special.
Yeah, Mark Schreiber, the president of the St. Louis Sports Commission. This is a huge win. Of course, figure skaters wind up becoming household names, and some of those will be made right here in St. Louis. This is such a big win. This is one to grow on. Tell us how you were able to secure this, because you're competing against the biggest cities in the country.
Yeah, and there's a lot of factors, of course, that go into this. I think at the top of the list is venue. We're so fortunate with the state that Enterprise Center is in. Like those investments that were made to the building 5-6 years ago, they are truly paying off. So that's very high at the list. Another is relationships. We've tried to be present at the U.S. Figure Skating Championships as much as we can over the past years. And so building that relationship with U.S. Figure Skating really helps, because they then feel they have great comfort in St. Louis and a reliable partner. And, St. Louis has a great reputation as a great sports market. That really helps. And the other piece that kind of puts it over the top for us is we have help from the state of Missouri through the amateur sports tax credit, and the city of St. Louis this year creating a sports events attraction fund also was very beneficial. Those aren't huge investments, so I don't want to overstate, but the fact that we have those tools makes us just competitive enough that we can win an event like this.
Yeah, and this is one to grow on. I mean, when you do something like this, you can prove we can pull it off and put St. Louis in the spotlight. This can attract more, and there's real financial tourism opportunity around these types of opportunities, aren't there, Mark?
Exactly. There's going to be thousands of fans. This has a loyal base that travels to the championships every year, and it actually will perform even better in an Olympic year, which is when we're hosting. So yeah, and to be able to have that tourism delivery, that visitor delivery, the first, second weeks of January, that's really fabulous and can be a great boost to our hospitality industry and, of course, to downtown.
Do you know what other cities St. Louis was competing with to snag this event?
So we don't really, sometimes because they go through and sort of say, okay, here are the finalist cities. Other times, like in this process, we truly didn't know. But I know based on like having gone to Columbus this year for the championships, I know Washington, D.C. was present. I know Minneapolis, St. Paul was looking at the event. So there were several peer, even larger markets that we were up against. And it's a really strong batch of cities that we have to compete against, whether we know for sure who they are or don't.
Awesome. Well, I'm so glad that St. Louis was able to land this event. As Michael said, with the tourism and the money that brings in, do you have any kind of guesstimate of what dollar amount an event like this could bring to the city?
Yeah, guesstimate's the good word there. And just, looking at what's been reported in other cities, I'd say the range is around 8 million. It could approach maybe closer to 10 for us, again, because we're in that Olympic cycle. So, it's up to 10,000 hotel room nights. And, those are all somewhat random numbers, if you will. But the reality is, yes, there's actual out of town visitor spending that's going to really help our community. And, that's one piece of it, but there's also the exposure, the positive exposure St. Louis gets. The event's going to be televised nationally on NBC. They will go all out because it's a month before their Olympic coverage. And then just what it does locally, we can't state enough. Just the power of this event to inspire young people and people of all ages. By having athletes at the talent level that we will have and compete right in front of us is a big deal. And the last thing I'll say is, we want this event to be for all of St. Louis, want to cover the entire community. And we're going to be able to implement some legacy programs throughout the city and throughout the region that help people who may not be exposed to the sport get exposed to the sport and learn to skate and so forth. So that's one of the things we're really looking forward to, besides the actual competition and that direct economic impact.
If someone said to me, hey, remember 2006? I would say, yes, that was 4 years ago. But now it's actually 20 years ago. Yeah. And St. Louis did host the U.S. Figure Skating Championships. Ironically, it was before another Olympics in Italy. So kind of full circle here with St. Louis hosting this event. I know 20 years is a long time. How much has this event and the production of it changed in those 2 decades?
Yeah, that's a great question. And in some respects, it's very similar. I think the production of it may be a little bit different in the sense that U.S. figure skating comes in and I think it's a little bit more hands-on now. And it's sort of the trend that you see in all sports is they really focus sort of on that in-venue experience to have it be a little bit more entertaining for fans. And then probably just the caliber, just like anything in sports, 20 years later, everything is ratcheted up in terms of the ability, the jumps, and so forth. And so that's probably the biggest difference is how far has the sport come since we hosted in 2006.
I know it goes without saying that there will be swag and such, but if you go to this event, I mean, you could get a hat, a half zip, something like that. There's going to be merchandise, right, that really brags about this championship being in St. Louis?
Of course. Oh, yeah. That will be a big thing. And, I love the logo at our press conference yesterday announcing the event. The logo was unveiled, too. And they actually, part of their motivation was to sort of do a little bit of a takeoff from the 2006 logo. But it has a very St. Louis feel to it, of course, with the arch incorporated. So when you talk about merchandise and having it connected to St. Louis, I think that's also a special piece for the community is that branding that some events don't necessarily do. But in this one, you're not going to miss that this event is in St. Louis.
Awesome.
And has our stamp on it.
I love that. Now, I know it is January of 2026. Do we know when people can either get in line to buy tickets or buy tickets or pre-sale?
Yeah. So the all-session tickets for the event will go on sale. We think it's probably going to be January 16th. That may move by a day or two. We should have that decided in the next week or so. But they try to do all-session tickets, have those on sale before the previous year's event, which will be the following week in Wichita. And then we'll kind of take that through the World Championships in Boston in the spring. after that, we'll start doing different packages. So there'll be a weekend package, and then eventually single session tickets will go on sale. So it's sort of a rolling thing as we go along in the coming year.
Awesome. Very excited. Congratulations to the St. Louis Sports Commission, the city of St. Louis. Mark Schreiber, he is the president of the St. Louis Sports Commission. We're all thrilled that St. Louis will be hosting the 2026 U.S. Figure Skating Championships at Enterprise Center as those athletes make their way or vie for a spot to be on the U.S. Olympic team in Italy for the Winter Olympics. Mark, thank you so much for joining us this morning, and I'm sure we'll be talking to you as the event nears as well.
Thanks, Amy. Really appreciate the time. You have one of my favorite shows in the market. I genuinely say that. So it's a joy to be on with you and Michael, and say hello to Chris too.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Will do.
All right. Take care.
Mark Schreiber, president of the St. Louis Sports Commission. Very
It's an
exciting
important group. You know, I mean, think about this. We're going to have college playoff football that's going on across the country. You've got all these like destination things that happen, these bowl games, they bring money.
Yeah.
So when you have obviously the premier sport of the Winter Olympics, which is going to be the figure skating, and for that matter, the female usually become the stars of the Winter Olympics.
It's like gymnastics, right?
Yeah.
And figure skating.
I know,
those
like,
are the two big high profile.
Nancy Kerrigan.
You know who I loved? Christy Yamaguchi.
Christy Yamaguchi.
Oh my gosh, I loved her.
Scott Hamilton. I mean, those are the names we remember, right, from
100 years
Winter
ago.
Olympics.
Yeah.
And that will be the case again here in St. Louis. So cool that that's happening. It is always fun to watch a global sports event, and they do that panorama of St. Louis with the arch all lit up and stuff. It makes you proud to be here.
Yeah, I'm glad it's not Indianapolis for once.
Exactly.
He's Michael Kelly. I'm Amy. Mark Scores. Did you see this is next?
Require completion of an online medication consultation with an independent healthcare provider through the LifeMD platform and are only available if prescribed. Subscription required. Individual results may vary. Additional restrictions apply at lifemd.com. Read all warnings before using GLP-1s. Side effects may include a risk of thyroid C-cell tumors. Do not use GLP-1s if you or your family have a history of thyroid cancer.
Should GLP-1 weight loss medication like Wegovy and Zepbound cost hundreds of dollars? We don't think so. TryLifeMD.com helps provide insurance access to the leading GLP-1 medications. Visit TryLifeMD.com to get your free insurance benefits check and see your eligibility in minutes. Listen to Tara's story after losing 42 pounds.
You just take your shot. It doesn't feel like you're on a diet. What I wasn't expecting it to do was to shut off the food noise. I'd gone from 237 to 195. This was life altering. And if I can do it, I feel like anybody can do it.
Get started right now with your free insurance benefits check and see your eligibility for coverage in minutes at TryLifeMD.com. That's TryLifeMD.com.
KMOX welcomes Trans-Siberian Orchestra and their monumental tour, The Lost Christmas Eve, this Wednesday night at 7 p.m. for one spectacular show at Enterprise Center. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. A portion of the proceeds benefit Sightman Kids at St. Louis Children's Hospital. TSO, timeless and everlasting. Don't miss Trans-Siberian Orchestra's The Lost Christmas Eve, produced by Live Nation. Get more information at KMOX.com/events.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
In Missouri, farming isn't just a profession, it's a purpose. You can feel it in our 27 million acres of farmland. You can see it in the nearly 41,000 Missourians who work in agriculture. You can hear it at our farmers markets. You can count it in the $93.7 billion it brings our state. And you can taste it at your family's dinner table. A lot of farmers in our state rely on Bayer's tools and inventions because Bayer has a purpose too. to help farmers thrive. Learn more at go.bayer.com/purpose. Paid for by Bayer.
Why do the national tax resolution firms need the tiny fine print at the bottom of all their TV ads? Hi, this is Lance Story with the Lance Story Law Firm. You don't hear fast talking disclaimers in our ads because the claims we make are 100% transparent. The Lance Story Law Firm primarily focuses on one thing, IRS problems, and we're regulated by the Bar Association, and we have a AAA rating with the Better Business Bureau. IRS issues are serious legal issues. The Lance Story Law Firm has helped thousands of clients navigate the best resolution plans, and we tell you up front exactly how much it'll cost. Tax resolution law is all we do. So before you send money to some out-of-town, high-pressure salesperson, give us a call at the Lance Story Law Firm, located right here in St. Louis. Call today to schedule your free consultation with me, 314-260-6120, or visit Lance, DRURYlaw.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
At Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, every moment with our patients is a gift. This holiday season, you can be the reason children have hope as they fight serious illness and reach milestones once thought impossible. Your gift provides life-saving care to those who need it most. Please donate today at treeofhope.org and be the reason a child has hope for tomorrow.
I'm Brad Young. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Now, did you see this? With Chris and Amy.
See what I see. Did you see what I see? You did see something that happened to me today,
Man,
Amy. So-
paler than a ghost.
So
he
all of a
just,
sudden,
his
I got
face.
the notice on my phone that my credit card bill was due. Today's the day. I have an alarm that says, "Pay me."
Yeah.
And you know how you go on trips and
Yep.
you make that decision, 7-8 months ago. Then you go on the trip and you're there, and it's just 10 days of gloriousness,
Mhm.
right? And you've got most of it budgeted and figured out. And then there's those last 2 days where you're like, heck, this is our last day of vacation. Let's really live it up.
You didn't go to Italy to save $20 here or
well,
there.
Let's get the dessert
Get
tonight.
the dessert.
Yeah, let's have another bottle of wine, blah, blah, blah. Well,
Yeah.
today's that day you get to pay.
Oh,
Almost 20
my
days
gosh.
later, you get to send that money in and remember what a great time you had on your trip. And it's a real buzzkill, right? So I think I'm going to go home after this show and look at the pictures and forget about the fact that I just had to pay for it.
I know. It is. That's how it was with Switzerland. The good news is, I think with where we stayed, you had to pay like your Airbnb the week of, like you could cancel up to the week of, and then you had to pay it in full. And so we were able to make that payment and get that out of the way. And then we were in Switzerland, where the whole country is 20% extra, right? Because the
Really?
Swiss franc is worth far more than the euro. It's worth more than the dollar. So you had to add 20% to everything, plus the exchange rates, depending on if you have a credit card that has good exchange rates or not. And so, yeah, it starts to feel like I get this mentality like the national debt. Like, well, I'm here.
I gotta live it up.
I mean, I gotta live it up, or it doesn't matter anyway. Like the bill's gonna be so big that does it really matter that I spent an extra $30? No. The bill's gonna be so big. Does it really matter if I spent
No.
an extra $15? It doesn't if that were the only $15
Yeah.
purchase, but you
Well,
do that 25
then
times.
you're like, maybe I'll get the leg room on this
Yeah,
flight. Maybe I'll do that. And the next thing you know, $30 has become $500.
Money's not real.
Yeah,
It's not
exactly.
real. That's how I feel. That's why I love malls. When I walk into the mall, I literally lose all sense of a real economy.
Really?
And how much money I have or don't have. And I'm in the mall and it's like a drug. And I'm like, I love this place. And every store I go into, I think, oh, it's $15, $20. I literally think when I'm going to file bankruptcy, and it's going to be because of $15 purchases.
Yeah, right?
Because those are the ones that you think it's fine.
I remember when
But
when
it's
you were
not.
a kid and you had little things you had to pay for that you'd have to go to your parents. Dad, can I have $10? Can I have $5 or $1 for this? And my dad used to say it cost me $20 to wake up, and I'm like, I understand that now.
Right?
Like every day, I'm like, oh man, what's world gonna cost me today?
A vacation is different, but someone tweeted this, and it's the truest thing ever. It said, "Why is life so expensive? I'm not even having that much fun."
Well, where's the return button?
I know. Like, I'm like, why is just living so expensive?
But it is the good old days, right? Because,
Yeah.
everything comes directly to you. You can watch television anywhere you want on any device. You can, your fingers are, I don't know. We sometimes say it was so much simpler. I heard you this morning saying, "Oh, I wish I had the old flip phone."
Yeah. If I didn't have this job, I'd get a flip phone.
Yeah. But
Mhm.
it is the good old days because that phone you have in your pocket right now has access to anything. Like right now, if there was a major marathon that was finishing
Yeah.
and in Zimbabwe and you wanted to watch it, you could pull it up on your phone. These are the good old days,
could.
lady.
I know. I think I was just meant for a slower pace.
Really?
I think,
Should
yeah.
you be churning butter and then,
Here's-
riding your horse somewhere?
Here's the problem. I have the sensibilities of a woman in the 19th century. However, I have zero survival or domestic skills. I am barely keeping myself alive in Clayton.
So
barely.
you would go back to the Victorian age as long as you were a part of the Victorian.
Well, here's the thing. I can't wear corsets. I'm not great with uncomfortable clothes. So it's like, I think I have the morality of like a 19th century woman, but I want the women's rights of now. I
Right.
want the convenience of now, but I also want the pace. Like the pace of Pride and Prejudice with Jane Austen. What
Right.
did they do all day? They sat in the drawing room. They sat there and they looked at each other, and sometimes they wrote
And
a
wore
letter.
Gloves. Could you wear gloves all the time, like in everyday
I
everything?
think that would get old. But I could say if I had to pick the gloves or the corset, I'm not good with tight pants. You think I could wear a corset?
I don't think you would need a corset because corsets aren't they usually just like pulling in stuff that needs to be pulled
Well,
in? You don't have
no,
anything
that's
to
how we
pull in.
talk about them now, but everybody wore them back then. I mean, their waists were like half of mine. They could make it, I don't know, I feel like you could wrap your hands around their waists. It was so
Again,
unhealthy.
Is this if this is something women are doing for men, like we
Yeah.
were talking about with the bags the other day, it's not doing it.
Well, I
for
think
us.
we stopped wearing
Yes,
those.
thank goodness, right?
And the big dresses
Right.
with all the hoops.
Uh-huh.
I can't do that. I just like the pace. I want to sit in my living room and be like, oh, Michael Kelly is coming by in the spring. I wonder if it'll be March or April. We don't know because that's how we tell time in months. He's Michael Kelly.
I do that.
I'm Amy Mark Scores. Hey, when we come back, Brian Metzger, senior politics reporter for Business Insider. 29 House Republicans want Trump to scrap the IRS's free direct tax filing tool. Why would they want that? We'll talk to Brian in the next hour. It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Hello, this is Chad Clayman with ClaymanGroup.com, KLAMEN Group.com, where we buy houses direct and as is condition. Did you just inherit a house and you're not sure what to do with it? Maybe it's got a lot of stuff in there and you're really not sure what to do with the stuff and how to sell the house. Well, we do a lot of work with people that inherited property. We're very familiar with the probate courts. So if you have a house you just inherited, please reach out today. We'd love to make you an offer and simplify your real estate situation. KLAMEN Group.com.
Make holiday magic this year with something beautiful and timeless from Diamonds Direct. At Diamonds Direct, we have hundreds of styles that are ready to be wrapped and put under the tree. No need to wait for shipping. For some fabulous ideas before you head to the store, see the online seasonal gift guide now at DiamondsDirect.com. We've got special financing so you can spread out your payments. Get directions, details, special showroom hours, and our holiday gift guide now at DiamondsDirect.com. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Do you have shoeboxes full of old videotapes and photos? Starting now, radio listeners get access to our best last-minute holiday deals from Legacy Box. Get your family's videotapes converted for just $9 and photos professionally scanned for as low as 7 cents each, which is 76% less than what other brands charge. As the world's largest digitizer, you know you can trust Legacy Box to digitize your entire collection of old media. Everything from the embarrassing haircut you had in the 90s to photos of your great-grandma's wedding. Visit legacybox.com/value to get 200 photos scanned starting at just $19.95. Oh, and don't forget, Legacy Box also digitizes over 15 other types of analog media. It's the most meaningful gift you can give this holiday season. Take advantage of this exclusive last-minute holiday offer from Legacy Box. Go to legacybox.com/value. That's legacybox.com/value.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR St. Louis.
The home of the Cardinals, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
'Tis the season for Hardee's handcrafted goodness. Made from scratch buttermilk biscuits pulled fresh from the oven. The return of special traditions like salty sweet candied bacon. And faithful friends like Hardee's cinnamon raisin biscuits gathered near to us and served all day, all season long. From icing drizzled biscuits to savory charbroiled burgers, unwrap the holiday goodness of Hardee's. Find the best deals on the Hardee's app. Items available for a limited time at participating restaurants.
Hi, this is Kent Newbold for Newbold BMW. Do not trust your BMW to some quickie lube place. Bring it to our award-winning service department. That's Newbold BMW in O'Fallon, Illinois, or newboldbmw.com. You'll be sold on Newbold.
This holiday season, save $30 on the GTA 26 handheld garden pruner. Now just $149.99. Visit your local Steel dealer today or shop online at steelusa.com. Offer valid for a limited time, only at participating dealers while supplies last.
It is 11 o'clock in mid-America. We've got 48 degrees downtown at the Arch. The Department of Transportation has a new rule to make airline travel easier for disabled passengers.
Double amputee Tammy Duckworth, the Democratic senator from Illinois, talks about the staggering number of mobility devices damaged.
We wouldn't allow airlines to get away with breaking 892 passengers' legs every month.
Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg says all checked wheelchairs and other devices
must be returned to a passenger in the same condition as received.
Allison Keyes, CBS News, Washington.
President Biden is praising a decision by the Federal Trade Commission to ban hidden junk fees. Linda Kenyon has that from the White House.
The president says junk fees cost Americans hundreds of dollars each year. They include hidden costs tacked onto ticket sales and hotel rooms. Consumers often don't know about them until they check out. Biden says these fees add up and take real money out of the pockets of Americans.
Correspondent Jim Crisula reports on another court ruling dealing with transgender rights.
A state judge in Montana has temporarily blocked policies that prevent transgender people from changing the sex designation on their birth certificates and driver's licenses. The policies are being legally challenged by the American Civil Liberties Union, which argues that requiring people to carry documents that contradict their identity violates their right to privacy.
The superintendent for the Francis Howell School District will soon take the same position at Kirkwood Schools, a district that's about a third of the size.
Francis Howell's board voted unanimously to release Dr. Kenneth Rumpus from his contract last week. That's according to a newsletter that was sent to district patrons Monday night. Rumpus has served as superintendent for nearly 3 years for the district's 17,000 students in St. Charles. He shepherded the school system through several controversies, including issues on the use of transgender student restrooms, mask mandates, and Black Studies curriculum. In Kirkwood, he'll replace David Ulrich, who will retire in June after 5 years as superintendent. Kirkwood has a little under 6,000 students. Julie Carpenter, KMOX News.
Another Catholic school in the St. Louis Archdiocese will close at the end of this academic year. The latest is in St. Genevieve County.
St. Joseph Catholic School in Zell, Missouri, 8 miles west of St. Gen, is currently serving just 27 students in its core kindergarten through 5th grade program. After reviewing the school's financial projections and consulting with parish leadership, its pastor determined that continuing to fund the school was not sustainable and recommended it be closed next year. St. Louis Archbishop Mitchell Rosansky just signed off on the recommendation. Last week, a similar decision was made to close Our Lady of Guadalupe Catholic School in Cool Valley in North St. Louis County. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
The KMOX Business Desk, AI for free.
OpenAI is rolling out a search product to all users of its chatbot, ChatGPT, next week. It's kicking up the competition with Google. ChatGPT search will be available to any user who is logged in with an account for the chatbot. Kimberly Adams, Bloomberg Radio.
The Dow from Stifel's down 198 points to 43,519. And on the roads, we're watching 70 going west at Warrenton. Missouri State Highway Patrol says there's a crash involving 3 tractor trailers. Troopers are on the way, and Warren County is saying that the interstate is completely blocked. That'd be 70 westbound at Warrenton. Crash involving 3 tractor trailers. Also, stalled vehicle 70 east at Cypress. That's on the right shoulder. And another stall 44 going west at Grand. That's also got the right shoulder blocked.
Sunshine mixing with clouds and rather mild this afternoon, high 58. Tonight will turn cloudy with a couple of showers overnight, low 41. Tomorrow, a breezy, chillier day, cloudy and damp early, then some sunshine in the afternoon, high 45. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
We've got sunshine. It's 48 in St. Peter's, 47 Florissant, 48 downtown at the Arch. Feels like 54. Sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Right now, the Fix-It-Right guys at Jerry Kelly will come tune up and inspect your furnace for just $98. It's normally $143, and that's very little money for a whole lot of peace of mind. Check it out now at
JerryKelly.com. The Chris and Amy Show is sponsored by Gingerbread Architects, building dreams one cookie at a time.
Michael Kelly, Amy Mark scores with you.
This is a real rager. This gets the party going, doesn't it? People are coming out of the news all pumped up after that one.
Here's what we're trying to do, Michael.
Yeah.
We're trying to lower the temperature.
All right.
We want to bring blood pressure down. We want heart rates to slow because we're going to talk about the IRS and taxes, which
Good point.
I am 41 years old. I have yet to do my taxes without crying at some point. I cry.
Welcome to life.
I cry every year.
It never goes away.
You have your Gap bag full of receipts. I'm like, Dad, I don't want to go to jail. I don't want to do this. Well, to speak of the IRS, here's what happened. The IRS created rolled out a program slowly that allowed Americans to directly file their taxes with the IRS. It was supposed to streamline the process.
You couldn't do that before?
No, which I didn't know that either. It makes it simpler and easier. However, there are a group of Republicans who want to end this direct tax filing tool. And for more information on the tool and why these Republican legislators want this tool to be rolled back, we're joined by Brian Metzger, senior politics reporter for Business Insider. Brian, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me. Great to talk with you.
Yes. Well, like I mentioned, I cry every year when it's time to do my taxes, and it's very confusing. And at first glance, this idea of a direct tax filing system seems great. How does this work? And then what are some of the reasons why these Republican legislators want to end the program?
Certainly. So this program actually came about as the result of the Inflation Reduction Act, which was passed by Congress back in 2022. And that bill set aside about $15 million for the IRS to study a program to allow taxpayers to file directly with the IRS. And so that program launched for the first time last year. It was available in 12 states. It's set to be available in 12 more this coming year. And basically what it allows you to do is for your federal taxes, you can just go on the website, you verify whether or not you're eligible to file with the system. And then once you're cleared and able to use it, you go to your W-2s, you put in the requisite information into the forms, you fill it all out. I've seen folks say that the whole process can take less than an hour to do. And then after that, you get an email that tells you great, you've been approved, your taxes have been filed. I should say that sorry.
No, please go ahead.
Well, and this applies just for federal taxes. There are certain workers for whom this doesn't apply yet, gig workers, contract workers, that sort of thing. Folks who have a W-2 are able to use this.
So it cuts out the need for a TurboTax or somebody else who's filing it for you. Then you would be doing it directly with the government and there would be no fee.
Yes, exactly. It cuts out sort of the hassle that you all were describing, the need to use a service like TurboTax. It makes it all very, very direct.
Well, I have to tell you, I learned something today. I didn't know you couldn't directly file your taxes with the federal government. That seems a little strange. What seems even more strange is now that they're finding a way to allow you to do that, people want to stop it from happening. What's the argument of these 29 House Republicans?
Well, there's a few different arguments that are being advanced here. In this letter that I reported on last week, about 29 House Republicans made the argument that it's a conflict of interest for the IRS to be running this program because they are not only the enforcer of, tax violations, but they're also, auditing, they're assessing. Basically, they shouldn't be in charge of both enforcement and assessing. They sort of frame this as an overreach of government. They say that the IRS should not be sort of telling Americans what they owe, and then, giving them, at least in their argument, less room to sort of contest that. They say that the IRS has an interest in overcharging people for their taxes, and they frame this as sort of a weaponization of government. Even they sent a letter to Trump asking him to nix this program via executive order on day one.
Yeah, even if it's not a malicious, intentional weaponization of government, I do kind of get the conflict of interest thing, because when I first heard about the free tax filing, I thought, oh, that makes sense, right? The assessing and the enforcing. And then I remembered, actually, I had a friend who used like an H&R Block or a TurboTax, filed the taxes. The IRS came back and said, you owe more. And H&R Block or TurboTax said, no, actually, look it, this is what we did, sent it back to the IRS, and the IRS admitted their mistake and said, oh, okay, you're good. And I realized, man, you wouldn't really have much recourse, as you mentioned, for contesting claims that are taxes that you believe you don't owe.
Yeah, and that's the sort of argument that I think Republicans are leaning heavily on. I mean, folks who support this program would counter that, folks can sort of appeal the assessments, and there is recourse there, but it obviously is less straightforward than it might be under our current system, even if you have to use tax preparing systems like TurboTax.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't know that I was right and the IRS was wrong. Like I wouldn't know to even contest it.
So, Brian, is there any indication on what President-elect Trump has said he's going to do to this? I mean, there's 29 Republicans. I can see how some of their arguments might be popular, but some of it may be unpopular. Where does the president fall?
Certainly. Well, when I reported on this story, I reached out to the Trump-Vance transition. Haven't heard back. And, earlier today, I actually caught up with one of the lawmakers who co-led that letter, Chuck Edwards. He's a Republican congressman from North Carolina. And I asked him if he had heard back from the Trump team, and he said no. I asked him if he had corresponded with former Missouri Congressman Billy Long, who is set to be the IRS commissioner under Trump, assuming he's confirmed by the Senate. He said he hadn't corresponded with him about this either. And so I think, at this point, it's probably a bit unclear as to what will happen. I think what is clear, though, is that Republicans more broadly have been interested in sort of funding the IRS at lower levels than Democrats are interested in funding it at. That rests on a set of arguments about you don't want to empower the IRS to, go after everyday taxpayers and audit folks and that sort of thing. And so I don't think it's outside the realm of possibility that Republicans would try to nix this program. But I think it's a little bit unclear exactly what will happen next year.
Brian, do we have any data on how many Americans have used this program so far, or how much money has gone through this direct file system?
So I don't have the exact figure for you on how many folks have used it. I believe it is in the thousands at least, and I know that it's set to be available for about 30 million people next year. And there are some estimates I've seen that the program so far has saved somewhere in the order of about $1 billion, not $11 billion in terms of fees and times that would have been spent filing taxes and spending time doing this.
Gotcha. And then also, as far as questions about this program or like the 29 Republicans who want to end it, is it pretty much split along party lines, or are there Republicans who are for it and Democrats who are against it?
So I don't believe that there are Democrats who are against it. It is, generally speaking, a sort of partisan issue. Mm-hmm. What I'm interested in doing, actually, I'm going to sort of follow up on this reporting, and I'm going to sort of see if I can dig into this topic a little bit more, is see if there are some Republicans out there who are sort of uncomfortable with rolling back a program like this. I think when Republicans are in a position like they have been for the last 4 years, where they're mostly opposing, what the Democratic president is doing, some of those sort of internal disagreements might be more easily papered over. But, when it actually comes down to it and you're talking about Trump potentially repealing a program that people have already been using, I think that's where we are likely to potentially see, certain divisions opening up among Republicans.
Yeah. And assuming, too, that the Democrats don't plan on expanding this program in the sense that it will always be optional, and assuming that a lot of people will still use, tax experts, third parties to help them.
Yes. I mean, I think it's, obviously we're at a point where we're about to have a new administration. We're about to have full Republican control of Congress. And so I think it's unlikely that we're going to see this program expanded much more beyond where it is now, at least until, Democrats have control of the government again.
Brian Metzger, senior political reporter for Business Insider. We appreciate your time today, and perhaps we can check back in with you as we find out more about the future of this program.
Certainly. Happy to do it, and thanks for having me on.
Thank you very much. Brian Metzger, senior politics reporter for Business Insider. Yeah, Michael, that's one of those things where at first I thought, okay, this is not a big deal. If you want to direct file, you can, but it is, I guess there would be a simple like, hey, there could be a conflict of interest here.
I guess potentially. I mean, it should be easy to pay your taxes. Particularly, I think they're targeting folks who are going to be not making all the claims, just putting in their W-2s. When you were a high school kid, the pain that it went to go do your taxes. So maybe it makes it simpler for them.
Yeah, like when you switch from the babysitting, where it's a few, $10 here and there,
under the radar,
to suddenly you have a real job, even though you're making less than you made babysitting.
And by the way, isn't that the worst day when you get your first check and you're like, wait a minute, I thought I was going to make $6 an hour, and you got like 12 for the whole week, and they're like, well, the government gets their piece, and Social Security, that's for grandma. Why am I paying that?
I'm 7. No.
Exactly.
He's Michael Kelly. I'm Amy Mark Scores. It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Where the treetops glisten and children listen.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Siteman Cancer Center Spotlight. This month, we are focusing on prostate cancer, and joining me is Dr. Vikas Prasad.
A treatment plan for you is very much dependent upon the stage in which your disease is diagnosed. So you really have to speak to your urologist or your oncologist to see whether the disease is primarily localized in the prostate.
Special thanks to Siteman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, go to siteman.wustl.edu.
This year, Christmas meets the Beatles. You're invited to Let It Be Christmas, the rock opera that tells the Christmas story entirely with classic Beatles songs. It's a St. Louis holiday tradition, now in its 15th season. Yes, here comes the fun. Performances are December 19, 20, and 21 at the beautiful Kirkwood Performing Arts Center. Let It Be Christmas, the gospel of Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Paul, George, and Ringo. Tickets available now at MetroTix or the K-Pack box office.
Is your home ready for the holidays? Beat the holiday rush and call our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. Get 3 rooms of carpet cleaning starting at $129 and take $75 off your air duct cleaning. Book online anytime at ZeroResSTL.com. Say it forward, say it backwards. It's always the same, Zero Res.
If you're thinking of getting new hardwood, carpet, laminate, or vinyl flooring at one of those big box or discount stores, put it on hold. As in Reinhold. Reinhold Flooring, covering St. Louis and beyond since 1988. Residential or builder, you'll find everything you need in our showroom on Telegraph. When it comes to investing in your home, you want the best in carpet, laminate, vinyl flooring, or area rugs. Put those others on hold with Reinhold Flooring. Stop by Telegraph Road or learn more at ReinholdFlooring.com.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-987-6122. 800-987-6122. 800-987-6122.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Thanks, Bob. We're here with Doug the Elf, asking about the hottest holiday gifts of the year. Doug, what's on your list?
Yeah, we're getting Missouri lottery scratchers and draw games. We came all the way from the North Pole.
They don't have lottery tickets there?
Now, Missouri lottery tickets, they created a new millionaire every 8.1 days last year. Woohoo! I just won!
But I thought that was a gift.
Well, yeah, for me.
You heard it here first. Scratchers and draw games from the Missouri Lottery make great gifts for the holidays. Play it forward and play responsibly. Back to you in the studio.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
You know, as they say, one person's personal information is another person's treasure.
Exactly. That's why I use NordVPN every time I surf the web. Features like Threat Protection Pro's safeguard devices from phishing websites and disable intrusive ads and trackers. Just check NordVPN.com, grab the deal, and see for yourself. NordVPN. Cybersecurity built for every day.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed. Oh, yeah? Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech. I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me? Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed. And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride. Love that guy.
Me too. Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Hi, this is Bob Costas, proud KMOX alum, and from my family to yours, happy holidays.
Happy holidays from KMOX.
Dashing through the snow.
I cannot believe that you are going to allow me to do this segment. So you came in and you were talking about advertisements, and I thought, yeah, I can talk advertisements. Because now I get to ruin Amy's day. Are you ready for this?
No, come on,
I have a structured settlement and I need cash now. Call JD Wentworth, 877 cash now. All right, so that horrible ad, which will now be in everybody's head for the rest of the
Michael,
day.
Do you know it took me 3 weeks to get that out of my head last night?
So it's done something for me. It caused me to investigate what is a structured settlement. Now, these people are advertising during football games. They have enough money to advertise during football games. Okay. A structured settlement is if you hurt yourself in a car accident or you have some type of claim or lien where someone owes you money and there's a structured settlement that's going to take place. So you mean to tell me there are enough people in this country with structured settlements that they can advertise to, because I know of nobody with a structured settlement. Not one human being, but I know that commercial. And if I did know somebody, I'd be able to tell them, hey, you ought to call these people because they can get you cash now. So did you know what a structured settlement was?
I didn't.
Yeah.
I mean, I could guess, like I could say, like maybe some people went to a new piece of land and decided to make a town. And their tents were everywhere. And someone walked in and said, look, you have bathrooms here, the general store here. You need this settlement needs more structure.
Well, that's not what a structured settlement is.
This settlement has no structure whatsoever.
But it amazes me that there's niche groups out there that have these big national advertisements. There's one here that on KMOX that I think's funny too, which is the
Well, wait. I got to tell you this.
All right.
The structured settlement industry placed how much money in premiums in 2023?
$5 billion.
$8.6 billion in structured settlements. They placed $8.6 billion in premiums in 2023. It was a record-setting year.
So
J.G. Wentworth is doing okay.
And I guess that makes sense because when I'm driving down the highway, have you noticed that like the billboards that used to say, you know, Delmar Gardens or whatever, or call this law firm that all use the same phone number. And then the next one that's called this law firm, I guess that's where all these structured settlements come from.
It said with the structure, yeah, I hadn't, I mean, obviously it had to do with money, but it's like the difference, like you said, between a lump sum and a structured settlement. Said after being educated on the difference between a lump sum and a structured settlement, 73% of Americans would choose a structured settlement payout when they received their settlement in a personal injury case. But I mean, every lawyer, it seems like, is a litigation attorney.
Right.
We're very litigious to society.
We are. I mean,
Yeah.
enough that there's enough settlements that there's a company that can advertise during football, which is the most expensive advertising time out there, to tell you, call us and we'll get you cash now.
That's insane.
Think about that.
I love that you looked up a structured settlement because I, like I said, could guess, but not really know.
But I mean, it's annoying to me. So like wow, I guess it's not annoying. The commercial's annoying, but then it was in my head and I'm like, what even is that? Would I buy a structured settlement? I didn't even know where you would get one. And then I started to realize, well, I don't even know anybody who sues anybody. I've been sued, but like that, give me a break. That's just interesting to me.
Yeah.
It's like these people buying powder for the end of the world.
It's I was just thinking, sorry, I can't get off the structured settlement.
Go ahead.
I was like, it's like if you go to Colonial Virginia, that's settlement structures. That's what those cabins are. Anyway, yeah, okay. So
You're gonna be taking your shower tonight singing JD Wentworth.
I am. I can't stop singing it. Well, okay. I have often said, listen, I'm cynical.
Mhm.
This business has broken me. I really used to be a positive, happy person, and the news has broken me. But as bad and as cynical as I am not my Patriot Supply cynical.
Yeah.
Like because the commercial, I'd be driving into work and you say, oh, it's the KMOX Christmas holiday show. And oh, we got the figure skating. Like, look out the window. It's bad out there. You see them. Bread lines, people fighting, kids falling over in the street, people being pushed out of wheelchairs. My Patriot Supply. I'm like, oh my gosh, wow, that's really bad. I don't know what window he's looking out of, but it's really bad. So now they've adjusted.
Right.
Because it used to be like those in charge, they don't want you to think anything is wrong. Nothing is wrong. That's
Right.
what they tell you, but everything
Fear.
is wrong. But now they have to change their tagline because they have a different administration. So now it's things are looking up. Yeah, you may be excited about the new administration, but don't be fooled. Things can still go wrong. War, famine, and God forbid, nuclear bombs. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
Right?
What? Like, I mean, I get it. Listen, I'm not meaning to be mock being prepared. You can be prepared. I know a lot of people who have like extra water and toilet paper because we ran out of toilet paper during COVID. But man, come on.
And let's be honest, this is powdered food. This is like meals ready to eat in giant buckets that you're going to buy. And near as I can tell, the people they're targeting are also the people who are the ones who are usually lecturing me that I need my gun for hunting. So there's not going to be any animals for you to shoot anymore. So now you're just going to sit around and warm up water and eat paste.
And don't be mad. I'm just kind of laughing and joking because, like I said, I know
I'm
lot
not
of.
joking. I'm being serious.
Well, I know.
I don't understand.
I know, right? I mean, I know a lot of good people, right? Who
have buckets of powder at home.
Yeah, they've got stuff,
Weird.
and that's fine. You do you. It's more of the commercial.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what? I learned a lesson. Have more toilet paper if you want toilet paper, but there's a difference between saying, hey, let's be prepared, and heaven forbid a nuclear bomb lands directly on your head. And you're like, oh my gosh,
I mean,
it's so dark.
Totally.
We don't like to be moderate.
But I wonder how much money there. I mean, you just said, look at the structured settlement business is $9 billion in premiums alone. I wonder how many people are there. Is there $9 million worth of powdered food being sold in buckets to people out there?
I don't know.
Maybe we should get into.
I think I want a structured settlement.
I do too.
Because I need cash now.
Yes.
He's Michael Kelly. I'm Amy Mark Scores. Bernie Miklasz, KMOX Sports contributor, joins us next.
Fun it is to ride in one-horse open sleigh.
For eligible individuals 18 and older with self-perceived mild to moderate hearing loss only. Results vary. See website for details and important safety information.
Hello, I'm Dr. Harvey Abrams, head of research audiology at Jabra Enhance. Did you know there's a connection between untreated hearing loss and chronic conditions like cognitive decline and dementia? The good news is hearing aids can actually reduce these risks and help you stay connected. Today, I'm excited to tell you about my favorite hearing aids, the game-changing Jabra Enhance Select 500. Jabra Enhance offers an affordable solution for most common hearing problems with our best ever speech-enhancing capabilities for a mighty sound in a micro-sized package. Plus, with Jabra Enhance's premium package, you get 3 years of continuous remote care provided by licensed hearing healthcare professionals. No waiting rooms or long commutes. It's as easy as video chatting with a friend. Because at Jabra Enhance, our job is to help you hear and be heard.
Save $300 on Enhance Select 500 hearing aids automatically at checkout. Just go to JabraEnhance.com/radio. That's JABRA Enhance.com/radio. JabraEnhance.com/radio.
At Odyssey, we believe in casting a wide net to create a diverse and inclusive workforce, as we value the power of community and encourage local organizations to help us in referring qualified applicants to our stations. If you're a community organization interested in receiving our vacancy information, simply email equalemployment@odyssey.com. You'll be directly notified of our open positions. Again, that's equalemployment@odyssey.com. And for our listeners, we invite you to visit odysseyinc.com/careers. There, you'll find an online listing of job openings at all Odyssey radio stations. What's your favorite way to spend time? With family, friends, grabbing some alone time because you need a little space from your family and friends? One thing's for sure, it's not an unexpected stay in a hospital. Unfortunately, last year, flu and COVID hospitalized 1.3 million adults, and nearly 1 million of them were 65 or older. So get your updated vaccines, and don't let flu or COVID interrupt your life. Risk less, do more. Get started at vaccines.gov, paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
11:30, Sun 48 downtown. The U.S. government deported a Mexican drug lord after serving only part of his U.S. sentence. Adrian Bard from Mexico City.
OCL Cardenas led Mexico's Gulf cartel, but he's also credited with creating Los Zetas. They were highly trained ex-military officials who deserted and were known for ultra-violent acts like decapitations. Cardenas was captured in 2003, then extradited to the U.S. He's now back in a Mexican prison.
Crash on 55 going south at Route A. That's got the right lane closed. A stall 70 east at Cypress. That's on the right shoulder. Weather is sponsored by Comfort Solutions Heating and Cooling. If you're bothered by allergies or concerned about having healthy air quality, call Comfort Solutions Heating and Cooling. They carry a complete line of humidifiers, air scrubbers, and electronic air cleaners. Go to ComfortSolutionsSTL.com. Sunshine today, high 58. Showers tonight, low 41. For tomorrow, sun in the afternoon, damp to start, high 45. Right now, 48. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
In Missouri, farming isn't just a profession, it's a purpose. You can feel it in our 27 million acres of farmland. You can see it in the nearly 41,000 Missourians who work in agriculture. You can hear it at our farmers markets. You can count it in the $93.7 billion it brings our state. And you can taste it at your family's dinner table. A lot of farmers in our state rely on Bayer's tools and inventions because Bayer has a purpose too, to help farmers thrive. Learn more at go.bayer.com/purpose, paid for by Bayer.
This is Bernie Miklas. If you'd like to build a home, consider Fisher & Fritchel, a local family-owned company that receives numerous awards for its legendary quality and exceptional customer service. In 2024, they received the Torch Award from the Better Business Bureau and were voted Best Residential Builder by readers of the Post-Dispatch. They're currently building stunning homes and detached villas in Cottleville, Forestell, Lake St. Louis, O'Fallon, and St. Peters, or they can build a home on your land. For details, visit fnfhomes.com.
You know the old saying, if you fail to plan, you might as well plan to fail. And the last thing you want to fail at is something as important as your retirement. Every week, Steve All talks about how to plan for this next phase of your life.
What are your wishes, hopes, and dreams? What's retirement look like for you? Because everybody, that picture is different.
Tune in to the All Financial Hour every Saturday morning at 10, right here on KMOX.
Podcast The Bernie Miklas Show today on the free Odyssey app and follow to receive Bernie's daily take on Cardinals, Blues, or whatever else is in the news. AUDACY.
I'll have a blue Christmas.
Michael Kelly, Amy Mark scores alongside you, and we welcome in as we do every Tuesday and Thursday, Bernie Miklas, KMOX sports contributor. Bernie, how are you doing?
To be with you as always.
Well, Blue Christmas. How about those Blues? They're still on the new coach bump, I guess you could say. Do you see this carrying out like this is the new team, or do you think they're going to come back down a bit?
There's going to be challenges, but all systems go since they hired Jim Montgomery to replace Drew Bannister. I mean, the Blues are 6-2-2. They've gotten, of all the maximum points they could have gotten in those 10 games, they've gotten 70% of them. Since he's taken over in terms of even strength, the Blues are scoring 59% of the goals. Since he's taken over, they're allowing, in terms of even strength goals per 60 minutes, there's only 5 teams that are allowing fewer. They got to get the power play going. But the thing I like about it, and I don't mean to make such a long answer, is that the Blues' best players are performing like their best players after the coaching change. I'm talking about Thomas, Holloway, Kyrou, Buchnevich, Shen, Neighbors, Balduke, and those are just the forwards. We could put Parayko and some other guys in there. But they're getting their best performances out of the guys that have to be their best players. And, frankly, that wasn't happening earlier in the season. So I think that part of it is really encouraging if you're a Blues fan.
Was there an energy change in the locker room that can be credited to, or is there some strategy changing? Has he mixed up the lines? Has he changed the offense or the defense, or is it just pure energy of a new coach?
Well, he's got a great record in the National Hockey League as a coach. I've worn this stat out, but I'll do it one more time. Sorry. Among coaches in the history of the league that have had at least 300 games in the regular season behind the bench, Jim Montgomery, and this sort of fluctuates between one or the other, but Jim Montgomery, the last time I checked, which was the other day, he's got the 3rd best winning percentage of all time. And if you look at his work in Dallas and Boston and here, and you add it all up, I mean, this guy has got an exceptional points percentage as a head coach. So when he walks in, and this is not a slap at Drew Bannister, but when Jim Montgomery walked in, number one, he's got a great track record. He commands instant respect. They know he's a winner. They know he's made teams better. They also, number two, a lot of these key players, 15 Blues, but a lot of them are the most important players. They know Jim Montgomery well because he was an assistant to Craig Berube for 2 years. And he really did a lot to make the team better during that time he was here. So he walks in and he's got a great personality. He's very upbeat. He'll also hold players accountable, but he's not cruel about it. He's not trying to put on a show to impress people. He's so supportive, and he is so upbeat as far as teaching and coaching and suggesting where guys have to improve. They've really responded to that. But if he sees something he doesn't like, he'll bark about it too. And I think the accountability level has really, really increased since he became the coach. And there's just a more positive vibe now. And I think because they have such belief in Jim Montgomery, I really believe that.
And this, want to mention that this Bernie Miklas report is sponsored by Saliga Heating and Cooling, an American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer. Bernie, speaking of bringing in Jim Montgomery, like we know the Blues came into this year with the idea, okay, we're retooling, we're kind of focusing on the youth, we're rebuilding. Then the Blues bring in Jim Montgomery, and we think, okay, do they want to be competitive now because you're bringing in this high-profile coach while you're still under the auspices of a retooling year? Then the Blues sign veteran defenseman Cam Fowler. So these two moves between Jim Montgomery and Cam Fowler say, while the Blues want a youth movement, they want to make the playoffs this year.
I think they want to get a lot closer. And with the Fowler, with Jim Montgomery, listen, this was a decision based on the long term. Like, he got a 5-year contract that he'll be around here a long time. So I don't think it was as much about this year. It is about this season, of course, because the Blues were playing terribly. They had the 25th best points percentage in the league when he took over. Since he's taken over, they're in the top 7 or 8 in the league as far as success. And across the board, everything is better. So yeah, they were hoping. Doug Armstrong was hoping that he would catch fire. The team would catch fire and respond to Montgomery, and they have. And I think they'll continue to play well. They're much in the wild card picture right now, even though they play in the Central Division, which is brutally tough. But Jim Montgomery's going to be here for a long, long time, and I think that this was that hiring was to get the maximum out of the Blues this season, and then as more young players and the Blues big club roster, he's a guy that has shown he knows how to coach young players very, very well. The Cam Fowler, I like it because he's one of the most experienced defensemen in the league. The Blues are all beat up, with Letty being out, and their top four defensemen were playing way too many minutes. So they have to find a way to kind of level that out. And Cam Fowler comes here with a really great reputation. He can also help him out on the power play. His first 2 games, and it's only 2 games, but he worked with primarily with Colton Parayko, and those two were very, very good together. So people were down on Fowler because he had a big minus number next to his name, because Anaheim has just been a horrible team. But it's a team sport. I don't blame that on Fowler. He's still a highly respected defenseman. So I thought it was a good move, and it's also limited liability. So it's the Blues got some money with the deal. So $4 million this year, and then the cap hit next year is $4 million, and then his contract's up. It's not like they'd have to drag this contract deep into the future. This is a short-term solution. I think it made a lot of sense.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think it's a good move. I think I don't put much weight on a plus minus, because you look at Chris Pronger, one of the best defensemen the Blues ever had, a Hall of Famer. He always had a high minus score, because when you are the top defenseman, you are night in and night out playing against the league's top lines. Every opponent, you're playing against their top line. You're playing the largest chunk of minutes, and you're playing on the penalty kill. So you are going to be on the ice for more opponents' goals just by nature of the task you're asked to do each night.
No doubt about it. And I think there has been a change too. Getting back to the previous question, he has a different setup, I think, than Bannister did. And again, I'm not saying Bannister's system was wrong. I mean, he did very well after taking over for Berube, but the Blues have much more structure in the neutral zone and in the defensive zone now. And they're more organized in their own end, which is why they've really cut down on goals against, and why now Hofer and Binnington, they've combined for like the top 4, the number 4 save percentage in the league since the change was made. It's because the Blues are allowing fewer premium shots, high danger areas, sweet spot shots. So they're giving their goaltenders a chance to do what they do, which is to play very, very well. And they don't have to keep stealing games, although they're highly capable of that. But what I really like about Montgomery, from what I've seen, and the players have commented on this, he really believes in letting his horses run. Like the guys that are really good skaters, who have speed, who are creative, who find ways to create something. He lets them go. He's encouraging them to go, run, get after it. They don't hold back now, so they're more dangerous now because they have an attacking mindset offensively, and that's a big change too.
Bernie, over on the sidelines with the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes suffered a high ankle sprain on Sunday in the midst of an 11-day stretch where the Chiefs are playing 3 games. And with the Chiefs in the position they're in, 13-1, what do you anticipate regarding Mahomes getting back on the field, or maybe waiting for the playoffs, even if it means giving up a game or 2?
Yeah, that's a great question. One of the things about Mahomes, you never assume anything when he gets hurt. Remember the ankle injury he had a couple of years ago? I think it was a couple of years ago. It looked like, they're in big, big trouble. And he came back. He came back the next game, and he was totally fine. He looked as good as ever. Maybe not quite as fast, but he could play on a bad ankle, and he won a Super Bowl on a bad ankle. So he's kind of a freak that way. He has amazing recuperative power. So I'll be really curious to see the next game out. But here's the deal. And I'm going to try to explain this like concisely instead of rambling. the Chiefs, if you go back to last season, until late last season, until they won the other day in Cleveland 21-7, and Cleveland gave the game to them with 5 turnovers, by the way. But in the 15 games, including the postseason that led up to that, the Chiefs had won all 15 by 1 score. Every single game was close. And Mike Sando, a friend of mine who writes for The Athletic, he's brilliant. He pointed out that in every one of those wins, every one of those 15 in a row wins, there was a point or two in the game where the Chiefs really needed Mahomes to do something. They were in trouble. And every time, and we're talking about his scrambling as a runner, every single game at a big, big moment, he would break out of the pocket and run for 20 yards, run for 26 yards, run for 15 yards. His running ability had saved them a lot during that 15-game winning streak in close games. That's the key. Is he going to be able to run the way that they need him to run to escape? Because frankly, their left tackle and their offensive line is not protecting him well at all this season. It's a big problem for the Chiefs.
I think he'll get his health together by the end of the season. But as you look at this team right now, at 13-1, the record is impressive. But can they get past the Buffalo Bills to get back to the big dance with the team they have right now?
That's a great question, because it sounds totally nuts. And I'm not one of these people that, takes success for granted. And I really admire, respect the Chiefs, and I would love watching them play. But, and I can't say they've been lucky, because they have a Hall of Fame coach and they have a Hall of Fame quarterback, and they have a guy that should be in the Hall of Fame if they ever put coordinators in there. That would be Steve Spagnuolo. I can't say they're lucky. They're very resourceful and they're very tough-minded, but they shouldn't be sitting here with 1 loss. I mean, they really shouldn't be. They haven't. That's their record, and it is what your record is, what it says that you are, and whatever that is. I just messed that up, the old Dennis Green thing. But they really should have about 4 losses or so, So I wonder if the reality will hit, and reality will hit when they're going up against the Bills, and there's some other dangerous teams in the AFC. I wonder how much longer the Chiefs can continue to get away with this, especially if Mahomes is hobbled in any way that prevents him from doing everything that he wants to do and has to do. I think they're vulnerable is a better way to put it.
Yeah. Hey, Bernie, before we let you go, I did want to say, I'm sure you thought the same thing. The City of St. Louis awarded the 2026 U.S. Figure Skating Championships at Enterprise Center. And all I could think was, I am so glad Enterprise went through those renovations from 2017 to 2019, because we would not be getting the high-profile events that we're getting if those had not been done.
Yeah, I love that. It's a big deal. It's a national marquee event. There'll be great interest in it. There'll be a light shined on St. Louis. And I agree with you. I hadn't been to the Enterprise Center for a while, and had been there recently. And I was like, wow, this place looks absolutely great. And I know those renovations happened a while back, but it looks great. They've done everything they can to make it look like an arena that just opened brand new, like two or 3 seasons ago. But I think this is an opportunity for St. Louis to try to polish up whatever national image there is right now. Because look, I'm a city resident, proud to be one. There are problems. We're dealing with a lot of things. It's not always easy. It's not always handsome or pretty. But this is still a great town with a lot to offer. And I like when St. Louis has a chance to showcase itself in a very positive way.
Bernie, you want to tell us about Saliga?
Speaking of positive, yes, Saliga Heating and Cooling is really important in our lives. And I know that sounds dramatic, but listen, when you live in an old house and you're always worried about something not working right when it comes to heating and cooling, you have to make some calls, and you got to get some help on the way. And that's why we say, they've been very important to the Mickleses, because we've been relying on them for 15, 16 years, and they've never let us down. But there's nothing new there. Because this independent American Standard heating and air conditioning dealer has been helping St. Louis families, generations of families, since 1927. So the tradition continues. And we've learned firsthand just how great they are. 100% credibility, professionalism, trustworthiness, class when they come into your home. Their knowledge is really impressive because they have saved us money by making recommendations that will save us money rather than, hey, well, they don't understand. Well, let's just try to sell them some new equipment or whatever. They don't do that. I mean, they're just so straight up with people, and you can trust them when they come into your home and they tell you what's wrong and what the solutions are. One other thing before I go on Saliga Heating and Cooling, I would recommend becoming a member of the Priority Club. It's a maintenance program. We're members. I would definitely endorse it because it gives you peace of mind before the winter, peace of mind before the hot summer that your stuff is working great, and it'll save you money in the long run. You also get some perks that come with that. And they also have that American Standard heating and air conditioning equipment, which is the gold standard. So if you want to see all the list of services, you want to find out more about the Priority Club, go to SaligaHeatingandCooling.com, SaligaHeatingandCooling.com, and you'll see the phone number there. Thank you.
Tom Ackerman here with Pat Buring, Regional President of Busey Bank, our building community partner. Pat, I love learning more about the important contributions being made by nonprofits in our community. What does building community mean to you and your associates?
Tom, that's a great question. Busey Bank has 350 associates in the St. Louis region. We know they take great pride in Busey's commitment to bettering the lives of those we serve. Each organization featured in Building Community has grown through the awareness gained by our partnership. We hope this program encourages KMOX listeners to continue giving their time and resources. Our region has unlimited potential, and together we are making our community stronger. All of us at Busey strive for that, and that's what Building Community is all about. Join Busey. Get involved as we continue building the communities we call home.
We're looking forward to the new year when we'll return with more Building Community.
In the meantime, on behalf of everyone at Busey Bank, happy holidays.
It doesn't matter what they have to climb over, walk through, or move out of the way. All you have to do is point.
If it's under the house, in the attic, or in the top of a tree, all you have to do is point.
If it's broken, if it's heavy, if it cannot be explained, all you have to do is point.
We're sending you an expert truck team from the world's largest and most highly trained
full-service junk removal company.
So please, don't try to help them.
To see the magic,
all you have to do
is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Tune in to the Home Improvement Show, sponsored by Mosby Building Arts, Saturdays 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX for expert advice on remodeling, design, and construction. This live Q&A show begins at 11 a.m. or find podcasts at mosbybuildingarts.com.
At Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, every moment with our patients is a gift. This holiday season, you can be the reason children have hope as they fight serious illness and reach milestones once thought impossible. Your gift provides life-saving care to those who need it most. Please donate today at treeofhope.org and be the reason a child has hope for tomorrow.
Paid for by government. Now is the time to fill your vault with Morgan Silver Bars. Grab your piece of America's silver legacy with this special offer. These spectacular shining silver bars featuring a crisp image of the iconic Morgan silver dollar, a legendary coin that has captivated collectors for generations. Americans treasure owning silver bars and coins, putting them away for themselves and their loved ones. Call now to secure 1-ounce silver bars minted in 99.9% pure silver and made in the USA. You'll be glad you did. Hurry, don't miss out on this special deal. Save $10 per silver bar. The more you buy, the more you save. Limit of 25 bars per customer. Call to learn more. Plus, with qualifying orders, you'll receive a free Morgan silver dollar. That's a $59.95 value and free shipping. Call 1-800-222-3871 now to secure your 1-ounce Morgan silver dollar bars. That's 1-800-222-3871.
Hi, this is Ken Newbold for Newbold Toyota and Newbold BMW, a family-owned dealership group that has been around for 50 years as a Toyota dealer and 25 years in O'Fallon, Illinois. So come see us. That's Newbold Toyota in O'Fallon or newboldtoyota.com. You'll be sold on Newbold.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors, Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, Andy Royer, and Samuel Barry. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
The American Cancer Society calls upon Black women from all walks of life to join Voices of Black Women, a groundbreaking research study led by the American Cancer Society. Voices of Black Women is designed to better understand why and how cancer and other health conditions impact Black women. Go to voices.cancer.org.
I'm Michael Calhoun. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Very regal.
Oh, now it's a little
now it's
country.
jazz.
Yeah, the old left turn. He's Michael Kelly. I'm Amy Mark Scores. Happy holidays, Michael. Oh, Dean Martin.
For Christmas.
Speaking of Christmas, I have to give a shout out to our guy, Drew Young.
Yeah.
He's behind the glass over here. If you are watching us on YouTube, Twitter, or Facebook on the Chris and Amy Show live stream, you can see I'm wearing a very awesome Ted Drewes Christmas sweatshirt in the style of like a ugly Christmas sweater, like it looks kind of knitted. It's a Ted Drewes Christmas sweatshirt. It is so awesome, and you can buy them at Ted Drewes. So go to Ted Drewes. Matt, you got your Christmas tree at Ted Drewes this year.
I did, and did not get a discount from Drew Young.
Did you order your size of your sweatshirt there, Amy?
I ordered it from Drew Young. I like the oversized look, Michael.
Well, I think that would fit me. It looks like a dress on you.
That's how I buy my sweaters and sweatshirts, like a medium or large.
Uh-huh.
The oversized look. It's very comfortable.
Yeah.
And it allows freedom of movement. And it's not restricting or constricting. Anyway.
It looks like it's a thick, comfy, warm sweatshirt.
It's amazing. So Ted Drewes, I didn't even know they had holiday sweatshirts, but they do. You can go buy your Christmas tree. You can go get a sweatshirt. I've got a whole litany of things you can also do. We spoke yesterday with the director of the Red Cross for Missouri and Arkansas, and how the holidays are a time when people are busy. Obviously, you've got things to do. You're not thinking about giving blood. So the blood stores drop during this time, but also people are getting into car accidents. They're needing surgeries. And so the Red Cross does need blood. So you can join us at the Odyssey Holiday Heroes Blood Drive. It started today, Tuesday, December 17th. It goes through Friday. A ton of different locations across the Missouri and Illinois areas, a lot of different times. It's super easy from start to finish. You can be in and out within an hour. They have cookies and maybe some juice. And it's any information you need, redcrossblood.org. You can also, on our Odyssey KMOX website, we've got the information, but it's the Odyssey Holiday Heroes Blood Drive. And also, guess what we're doing right now? We're giving away winter warm-up tickets.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What's the phone number?
It's the contest line. So you need to be the sixth caller to the contest line, 314-955-1120, 314-955-1120. Be the sixth caller right now. You could win a pair of tickets to the Cardinals winter warm-up. It's always that weekend of Martin Luther King Jr. Day, so it's always a fun time. It's, again, the Ballpark Village, Busch Stadium thing. A ton of fun. So be the sixth caller. Good luck.
Yeah, 314-955-1120. I had no clue we even had a contest line. And had you put a gun to my head and said, Michael, what is the contest line? I would not have guessed 955-1120.
Well, good thing you're excluded from playing the game. He's Michael Kelly. I'm Amy Mark Scores. When we come back, we will be joined by Heather Sweeney, the executive director of the Gateway Foundation. Great news, guys. The City Garden lights are up for the holidays. It's gorgeous. This is the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Where the love light gleams.
When you want a brand new kitchen, there's nothing to it. There's a brand new way to do it. 3-Day Kitchen and Bath.
Jerry Adler had their kitchen remodeled by 3-Day Kitchen and Bath and talks about the experience.
If we had only met Darren when we started doing this construction, I would have been a lot happier girl than I am now. My husband, when he heard the 3-Day Kitchen and Bath would be in 3 days and out in 3 days, did not believe me.
Did he change his mind?
When he saw that 3-Day Kitchen and Bath came in and was gone in 3 days, he found that was the best experience we have had. Darren worked with us on our budget so that we could have the kitchen we needed without feeling like we were completely out of our league. They were professional, cared about the other part of the house. The work is beautiful. I wanted to give them the biggest hug ever.
Top quality materials and workmanship. 3-Day Kitchen and Bath. On the web at 3daykitchen.com.
California Psychics is the real deal. They helped me out, totally changed my attitude, totally got me psyched to start my business and take a new path in my life.
At California Psychics, we only connect our customers with the best. We reject 98% of the psychics who apply to us, so we guarantee if your reading isn't life-changing, it's free. New customers receive 20 minutes for just $20. So experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
Uh-oh, Brad's buzzed.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he's starting with the woots. And now a speech.
I just want to say that friendship is about heart and brain. Who's with me?
Good thing is, he knows when he's buzzed.
And my brain is saying, when it's time to go home, somebody call me a ride.
Love that guy.
Me too.
Know your buzzed warning signs? Call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
KMOX, KECK HD2, K254CR, St. Louis.
The legendary voice of St. Louis, KMOX. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
If you have unfiled taxes or are in debt to the IRS, this is important news. Did you know the IRS has programs specifically designed to help people struggling with tax debt? Powerful tax assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. No one knows these programs better than the experts at Optima Tax Relief, America's most trusted tax resolution firm, A-rated by the Better Business Bureau. Their award-winning team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. One call to Optima can start the process, helping to end your worries about wage garnishment, asset seizure, and other IRS actions. Make sure you're getting the best options to solve your tax problems. Call the experts at Optima today for a free confidential consultation.
Call 800-987-6122. 800-987-6122. 800-987-6122.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
It is 12 noon in Mid-America. This news is sponsored by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts, michaelsflooringoutlet.com. Investigators in Wisconsin are trying to determine a motive in the school shooting that left a teacher and a student dead and 2 other children in critical condition. The shooter is identified as a 15-year-old girl. Authorities believe she died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Correspondent Ian Lee is in Madison.
What they're doing is they're going through all of her personal effects, also looking at social media, talking to friends and family members, really to try to get an idea of what could cause this 15-year-old to shoot her school.
In January, the Webster Grove City Council will vote on rezoning land in a residential area for a KVC Children's Hospital pediatric mental health campus. But why in a neighborhood, residents want to know.
Children's psychiatric hospitals are embedded in communities because we want kids to have a sense of normalcy, right? We want them to look out the window and see trees and see grass and see people walking dogs and have, again, a sense of normalcy, getting away from that institutional feel.
That's Trish Lalo with Children's Hospital. She and Lindsay Stevenson of KVC say they've listened to concerns and feedback and even made changes based on a traffic study. Michael Garcia, speaking for Neighbors, says he's glad they're listening, but
on the other hand, this is just another example of how this project was rushed. This was not considered initially. Well, why wasn't this traffic study done initially?
He says they also want an open, honest conversation about safety. A former Sangamon County, Illinois deputy will remain in jail for allegedly killing an unarmed woman.
Sean Grayson is charged with first-degree murder for the death of Sonia Massey at her home near Springfield in July. Monday, the Illinois Supreme Court declined to issue an order to release him as it considers whether to hear an appeal regarding his pretrial detention. After his arrest, Grayson was diagnosed with cancer. Capital News Illinois reports he continues to receive treatment while he's being held at the Macon County Jail. Massey had called police to report a prowler outside her home. Officials say Grayson shot her while she was unarmed in her kitchen. Her family also says Massey was experiencing a mental health crisis at the time. Julie Carpenter, KMOX News.
New federal rules are meant to improve air travel for those with disabilities, including more employee training, faster boarding, and a requirement that wheelchairs and scooters get fixed or replaced quickly. Illinois Senator Tammy Duckworth, a double amputee, says she's had her own wheelchair damaged while flying.
In a single month, they broke a total of 892 in just 1 month. We wouldn't allow airlines to get away with breaking 892 passengers' legs every month. Why would we be accepting of that for our mobility devices?
The new rules go into effect next year. The KMOX Business Desk, TikTok doesn't want to go.
TikTok wants to maintain the status quo in the U.S. The social media platform and its Chinese parent company ByteDance have asked the Supreme Court to block the government ban on TikTok that is set to go into effect just over a month from now. People would still be able to have the TikTok app on their phones, but American companies like Oracle would not be allowed to provide critical services. Kimberly Adams, Bloomberg Radio.
The Dow from Stifel's down 276 points to 43,441. Crash on 44 West at Lewis Road. The left lane is closed.
A nice afternoon, sunshine mixing with clouds, high 58, cloudy tonight with a couple of showers, low 41. Tomorrow, a cloudy, damp start, then becoming partly sunny for the afternoon, breezy and much chillier, the high 45. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on the Voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
Right now, we've got some sun. It's 51 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
This segment of the Chris and Amy Show is brought to you by Eggnog Unlimited, because your cup should always runneth over.
Oh, the weather outside is frightful, but the fire, it's so delightful.
Michael Kelly, Amy Mark Scores with you the week before Christmas. We're a week from Christmas Eve right now.
Can you believe that?
Getting into the holiday spirit, and I think there's no better way to really soak up all of the joy of Christmas and the holidays than with the City Garden lights display. It's so beautiful downtown St. Louis, and joining us now is Heather Sweeney, the executive director of the Gateway Foundation. The lights are up for the holidays. Heather, thank you for joining us today.
Of course. Thank you for having me. Happy to be here.
So City Garden's such a cool place anyway, and then it's taken to the next level, obviously, during the holidays. But maybe for people who haven't been to the City Garden, haven't seen the holiday lights, what can they expect? What's going on there?
Sure. Well, thousands of lights have been put up at City Garden. We have covered the 3 acres of the park with beautiful, dazzling, warm lights, and we have lit up 4 of our pieces. So our beloved Bernard Vinay's, the 2 arcs by 4 and our 230.5 degree arc by 5. And then a fan favorite, Aesop's Fables by Mark DeSuvero, is also lit up. And then Zenith by Mimo Palladino. So you can come and you can visit the lights that are all throughout the trees and the ornaments and the stars, as well as these pieces. And then our spray plaza is active in the winter as well. We put globes on it for the nightly LED light show. So, starting at about 5, when the lights switch on, you can come out and walk and really have a beautiful night.
That's awesome. So it says, is this the interactive light show?
Yes. So if you have been down to City Garden during the summer, you might recall our spray plaza. It is a kiddo favorite during those hot summer days. And so the splash pad that you see the water kind of leaping and jumping in some kind of musical rhythm, we have the lights that are still on at winter, and we put some beautiful globes on top of them to capture that light for you.
Very, very cool. I also noticed we talked to the folks at Burger 809 before it opened, and now it's open, and that is right there in the City Garden. And so will Burger 809 be open if people want to make a night of it, go to dinner, eat there, see the City Garden?
Burger 809 has been experimenting with some extended hours into the evening. So I don't know with assurance what hours they're going to extend into the evening. But, the more people that come down to City Garden and the more people that are down in the mall, the more patrons as a possibility for her to keep those hours longer.
Awesome. And it is, as you mentioned, it's family friendly, it's kid friendly, and free, which makes it extra friendly for families who maybe want to see some lights, but don't necessarily want to wait in the long lines or shell out $25 for a car. Maybe families are trying to be extra careful. This is a way to get that same excitement of lights and festivity, but it doesn't cost anything.
Oh gosh, we do hope so. Yes. Yeah. No, it is free. City Garden is always free. And we are open from sunrise until 10 p.m. at night. And so you have a pretty good chunk of time in the evening to come out. And yes, it is free. And I would probably say the most beautiful free light show here in the city.
Absolutely. So it opened November 10th. It runs through February 17th.
Valentine's Day.
Is
I
it
can see what I'm up to.
February 14th, Valentine's
Hey, I'm going
Day.
to the spray pad.
Well, as a
Right? Isn't I mean,
that's where the
Yeah,
lights are.
Yep,
But
the
the
Spray
lights
Plaza has
are.
the globes. Yeah,
I'm gonna
that's
be down
that's
there.
the show. I would go there. Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be fun. And you know, it's just west too of the skating plaza that's going on right now in Keener Plaza. So if families come down, they can make a whole afternoon of it. They can maybe even go over and ice skate and have a cup of hot cocoa.
Oh yeah. Go to Winterfest, enjoy
There you
all of the ice skating and the hot cocoa, and then sojourn over to City Garden and see all the beautiful lights.
There you
yeah.
go.
So the Gateway Foundation, you guys obviously doing the City Garden and all the beautiful lights there. What else does the Gateway Foundation do that people would say, "Oh, I've seen that. I know that."
Well, something, speaking of lights and light shows that we do, the Gateway Foundation also lights the Arch, and that has a nightly show too, and
Oh,
that's
nice.
right in the mall, so you can make an even more of an extended evening, right? So come down and see that light show.
And the lights that you all have put on there are spectacular. You know, we had the lights first started when the Pope came to town, and they'd put a couple of spotlights on there, and then over time it's evolved. Right now, it is absolutely perfect what you all have done, and you can see that arch lit. And by the way, this is the symbol of our region. I mean, it should be lit up all the time. I know we have to worry about birds and traffic and all that other stuff, but it should be lit up all the time. And what you guys have done is special there. But it's not only that, you've done some of the old courthouse buildings. Talk about what you do with the money that you all have and bringing such an aesthetic look to St. Louis.
Well, sure. Lighting is near and dear to our heart with, the Arch and then all of the beautiful lights at City Garden that we do, not just during the holiday season, but we have also lit up the Civil Courts building, and we have lit up the City Hall. The new lights that went in the exterior of that. And, the focus is we have such in St. Louis spectacular architecture. And if it's lit up at night, that brings a whole nother element and experience to St. Louisans, and it gives you kind of more of an engagement and activation beyond daytime.
So we've talked so much about the arts that the Gateway Foundation helps bring to St. Louis and to highlight. I mean, you mentioned all of those art installations right there in City Garden. And I know that the Gateway Foundation is partnering with a scholarship program. Is that what it is? A scholarship program to help maybe undergraduate students who want to get into the arts?
Oh, yeah. So, one of the other things that we do outside of all of the spectacular lighting is Gateway Foundation has funded the Gio Obata Fellowship over the last few years. And with this 2025 cohort, we have brought it into the foundation. And so it is a fellowship in honor of Gio Obata, the architect, speaking of architecture, from St. Louis. And so we are opening up our cohort applications in this holiday season. So some time for students to be on break and put in an application to this fellowship, and some time for some arts agencies to get involved in hosting a fellow.
So what could potentially a student, if they get this fellowship, what would that look like for them?
Yeah, so the fellowship takes place over 10 weeks during the summer. So we fit it neatly into your academic cycle. And the fellow would do some meaningful, substantive work at an art agency that is one of our host organizations that is here in St. Louis. And in those 10 weeks, they would have an $8,000 stipend that is paid to them for essentially they'd be working about 40 hours a week. And so, they would anticipate having work, but also we offer some mentorship that's built into that and some cultural event experiences, as well as some professional development sessions that take place during that time frame.
Is it any type of art that the student may be interested in, or does it focus on primarily architecture? Like someone who's interested in painting, could they be part of this as well?
Well, actually, the goal of the fellowship is to expose students to arts management as a career.
Okay.
So we are looking for any student who has any kind of inkling that this might be a pathway for them. You could be a STEM major, you could be a art major, you could be a music major, you could be a history major, any kind of educational program that you're a part of, there's no prerequisite. Art can be a hobby or just kind of something that maybe you thought about when you were 5.
So there's a ton of parents out there who are hearing what we're talking about right now and want to know where they can go and take their young one to apply for this. What do they do?
Sure. So the application, I thought you were going a different route with that. So the application for the fellowship is accessible on our website. So if they went to gateway-foundation.org, we have a Giobata webpage, and that's where our application is for students to apply. They would need to kind of submit a personal statement that tells us why. Are you interested? Some transcripts, and then some letters of recommendation.
Excellent. So we've got the city lights for the holiday season. Anything else people should put on their radar right now that you want them to be aware of?
Well, one call I would say, since we talked so much about the students who would be applicants for the fellowship, I would also just like to make a call out to all of those arts agencies here in our ecosystem in St. Louis and say, please apply to be a host organization. We're seeking or organizations that are 501c3s, have an arts, emphasis, and about a $200,000 budget, as well as one full-time staff member who could be a dedicated supervisor to this fellow. So I would call out to encourage them to speak with our staff and hopefully submit an application.
Excellent. Heather Sweeney, Executive Director of the Gateway Foundation. Take your family, go see the City Garden lights. Thank you so much for sharing with us today.
Well, thank you for having me.
Heather Sweeney, again, Director of the Gateway Foundation. He's Michael Kelly. I'm Amy Mark Scores. It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Show signs of stopping, and I brought me some corn for popping. The lights are turned way down low.
Season's greetings. This is Ron Kraszewski, Chairman and CEO of Stifel, home of the industry's happiest financial advisors. For the second year in a row, J.D. Power ranks Stifel the #1 wealth management firm for employee advisor satisfaction. So, from our Stifel family to yours, we wish you a happy holiday season and much success in the year to come.
'Tis the season for Hardee's handcrafted goodness. Made from scratch buttermilk biscuits pulled fresh from the oven. The return of special traditions like salty sweet candied bacon. And faithful friends like Hardee's cinnamon raisin biscuits gathered near to us and served all day, all season long. From icing drizzled biscuits to savory charbroiled burgers, unwrap the holiday goodness of Hardee's. Find the best deals on the Hardee's app. Items available for a limited time at participating restaurants.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
At Onder Law, we deliver big judgments for the little guy. Onder Law takes on the biggest industries and holds them accountable. Call today for a free review at 314 or 618-9000000.
You know, as they say, one person's personal information is another person's treasure.
Exactly. That's why I use NordVPN every time I surf the web. Features like Threat Protection Pro's safeguard devices from phishing websites and disable intrusive ads and trackers. Just check NordVPN.com, grab the deal, and see for yourself. NordVPN. Cybersecurity built for every day.
This is a commercial for California Psychics, America's most trusted psychic network. So, if you're waiting for a sign, this is it. No, really, this is it. You won't see your soulmate's face in the clouds or your career path mapped out in your cappuccino foam. This really is it. We could add some dramatic sound effects if you'd like. So what you waiting for? Experience the joy of certainty at CaliforniaPsychics.com.
As we approach the holidays and the end of the year, no one wants to miss out on any holiday activities. Here's some important information from audiologist Dr. Colleen Bosler.
Have you heard of people skipping social events because they can't hear? Or sometimes you yourself may think, I'd rather not go to that restaurant because I won't be able to hear anyone anyway. These are things that we have heard at the Audiology Center. We want to tell you that this is why we do what we do. We love bringing family and friends back together. Our hearing aids are designed to reduce background noise and enhance the speech in front of you. People no longer have to avoid social gatherings because they now are able to hear and participate in conversation.
Don't miss out on any activities with family and friends this holiday season. Contact Dr. Colleen Bosler at the Audiology Center. 3 St. Louis locations, 636-441-7470, the Audiology Center STL.com.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Peter Stahl, board-certified urologist and senior vice president of men's sexual health at HIMSS. I've helped many guys with ED in my 12 years of practice. But now you can get world-class care for ED 100% online by going to hims.com. So what are you waiting for?
To start your free online visit and find ED treatment at up to 95% off brand name prices, go to hims.com/joy.
Hey, it's Kelly and Hancock, and we wanted to wish you and your family a happy holidays.
Actually, a Merry Christmas.
Come on, Hancock.
Come
Happy
on,
holidays.
Michael. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Happy holidays from KMOX.
Most people don't know, fun fact, that is Michael Kelly and I singing that KMOX jingle.
Yeah.
Yeah, obviously.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I have to tell you, hand to God, I have no clue that John and I ever taped any of that stuff. And I know we haven't done it in the last 5 or 6 years. That
Yeah.
must be some really old stuff because we even called it Kelly and Hancock.
Yeah,
Which,
really
I mean,
old.
he throws a hissy fit over that now.
Hey, why did we have the football music?
Well, I'm going to tell you, but first I got to tell you, hey, I want to tell you about my friend Chris Zimmerman got honored last
Oh,
night.
yeah.
And, you know, one of the reasons we are getting the U.S. Olympics trials coming here is because of what was done over at Enterprise Center.
Yeah.
And Chris is the president of the Blues. He got honored last night at the Jack Buck Awards. And my friend Mary Ellen Wagner was there last
Mhm.
night, and she is a big fan of Amy and Michael together.
Oh, buddy.
Uh-huh. It also happens to be her birthday today. So happy birthday to you, Mary Ellen Wagner. And
Happy birthday, Mary Ellen. And thank you so much.
yeah, she's
for
big fans of the original dynamic duo.
the original.
Which
We are
is-
the OG dynamic
Yeah.
duo.
Now we will be back together this Friday, but we'll have Hancock and Ranji with us. And
Well, yeah.
yeah, so you folks are just, I mean, this is like getting the purest of the pure.
Right.
You know what I mean? You're not getting that watered down orange juice.
Well-
You're getting the fresh squeeze stuff here.
Some people, I mean, many people are saying that it's
Yeah.
a Christmas miracle.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
Yeah.
And speaking of a Christmas miracle, I'm starting something over at the end of the year. I'm getting rid of all my streaming services. I have ones I don't realize I have.
Yeah.
But one that I have, and I'm embarrassed to admit it, is I have the NFL Red Zone. Okay. I don't like the NFL. I don't like the NFL owners, but boy, I love their product. And I'll tell you what, on Sundays, the NFL Red Zone, it's 7 hours of commercial-free television. Well, it isn't any longer. It used to be they had 7 hours of commercial-free. They would bop from game to game, and they would tell you, this is the greatest football dream, no commercials, etc. And they charge heftily for it. I think I pay $300-400 to be able to
Yikes.
have access to the NFL Red Zone. Well, guess what? This past Sunday, it ended. They are now advertising during the NFL Red Zone. So for people who may not be familiar with this exact channel that I'm talking about, it hops around from game to game, all the active games on Sunday, anytime somebody's close to being able scoring a touchdown, or maybe there was an interception, some major play, they go to it. And it's great because you don't have to listen to JD Wentworth and all the other commercials. Well, that's changed now. Now they get you for $400 and they give you the commercials. It's no longer commercial free. And that's got to be, you probably don't even care. You're not tortured by the NFL Red Zone,
No,
are you, Amy?
I am.
Oh.
Because Mason Jar and the Jar household.
Jarheads, watch this.
They are, all of them, fantasy football participants.
Right.
And not just, no one's in one fantasy football league. You got to be in
Uh-huh.
at least 3. So Mason Jar, Aaron Jar, Peter Jar, they're all in these fantasy football leagues. So they watch the red zone because, like you mentioned,
They want to know if their player scored.
that's exactly right. Now, I love football. I grew up wanting to be a football player. I was a
What?
fan. I was a fan of the Rich Brooks.
You could be a football, all 12 pounds of you. You could not be a football player.
That became a reality to me when I was like 13 and I stopped growing. I was like, I don't think I'm gonna make it into the NFL. But I was a fan of the Rich Brooks, Tony Banks years
Oh my
of the
goodness,
Rams. I
yeah.
had posters and magazines, and I loved football. I have a cheesehead because I was a Packers fan.
Oh my.
So we went to the greatest. I was so fortunate that we could go to the greatest show on turf. I mean, I was at the
Did you
Dome.
wear the cheese head at the Dome?
No, because I bought the cheesehead when before we got the Rams.
Yeah.
And I was a Packers fan, and then we got the Rams, and I was still kind of a Packers fan, and the Rams were terrible anyway.
People who wear cheese heads deserve to be made fun of.
Well, I'll take it.
Yeah.
I loved it. At any rate, so I'm basically giving you my credentials here. I like
Uh-huh.
football.
Yeah.
The red zone gives me anxiety.
What?
It is one screen to the next screen. And it's like, scoring. Oh, and he scores. Oh, and he scores. Oh, and it's a field goal. Oh, and it's a touchdown. And then the main red zone broadcasting guy is
Uh-huh.
talking over
Yeah.
the other announcers who are actually
Right.
broadcasting the individual games. Here's what I want to do. I want to watch the Chiefs game, and I want it to be just the Chiefs game.
Really?
The ambiance of Sunday
Mm.
football, the rhythm of the game, the drives where maybe the energy drops for a little bit and then they score and the energy goes up. The red zone is like cocaine football.
Right.
It's
That's exactly
insane.
right. That's exactly what it is. Do you
It's-
notice that everybody else in the family's into it? All the other jars are
Yes,
into it except
yes.
step jar, you, who's coming in. You're the only one not
Because
into the
I'm
red
like,
zone.
can we just watch one game? It's just constant, like your brain's overstimulated. Like I said, it really is cocaine football. And I'm like, what game are we watching? Who just scored? And then they also, because sometimes the teams they're scoring at the same time.
Uh-huh.
They show a touchdown, like, well, and this just happened
Well,
2
you gotta
minutes
dual
ago.
box it.
Yeah,
Try box it.
It's
Quad
too
box
much.
it. It's awesome. Listen,
No.
there is a nonstop red zone feed in my house.
Yep.
With it, my buddies will come over and we watch. Now, for instance, we watched the bulk of the Kansas City game the other day because they're from Kansas City and Kansas City fans. They wanted to watch
Yeah.
it. But halfway into the third quarter, when it was clear that Kansas City was going to win, everybody said, let's go to the red zone. Let's go to the red zone. So we wound up watching the red zone. So, Amy Isis, why aren't you into fantasy football?
It's too much.
Really?
It's too much. I have a hard time with things that are too much. I can barely keep up with reality. I don't
Yeah.
have time to
you,
make.
you understand how it's challenging for someone that, is sitting here who can put together a fantasy team. That's too much for you, but
Yeah.
running 26 miles
Yeah.
here at the end of the show,
because
no worries,
I'm
gal.
done by
Gonna go do
7
it.
a.m.
Yeah.
and I'm done. Football,
Weird.
it's too much because football is fantasy. It's
Yeah.
a game already. You can't play a game of a game.
Uh-huh.
It's a game. It's a league. It's a world.
Yeah.
We have great athletes. So the fantasy football, you're making extra football games. It's just far too complicated.
Well,
you have to set your
You
rosters.
look like you have a football uniform on right now in that oversized Ted Drew's Christmas shirt.
It looks great.
And I bet you wish you would have had that yesterday when you were ringing the
Oh.
kettlebell. Did you? How did the kettlebell ringing go?
I did ring the Salvation Army bells. I did the kettle at the Deerbergs in the Four Seasons Shopping Center at 141 and Olive, and it was awesome. Here's
Did
my
people
big
all
takeaway.
give money? Any suckers avert their eyes and pretend like they didn't see you there?
Michael, I was blown away by the generosity
awesome.
of people
Uh-huh.
walking into Deerbergs. Like people were dropping. First of all, I was blown away that so many people have cash, but
Right.
people were dropping just bills, even some big bills into
Yeah.
the kettle. And not only were they so generous with their money, they thanked me. They were like, thank you for
Wow.
doing this. And then they'd put money in the kettle. And it was really humbling because there is so much negative news out there.
Uh-huh.
But to ring the bell and just be thanked by complete strangers,
Yep.
say the Salvation Army does so much good
So-
work. The Salvation Army helped me. I can't wait to do it again. It was
Well,
really
let me know
cool.
when you do it again, because I thought, you know what, I'm going to drive out there around 3:00, and I'm going to put some money into the bell kettle because I'm worried that everybody's going to be walking by Amy. And At 3:00, I thought, no, I'm not driving all the way
Yeah,
to West
driving-
County.
yeah,
I'm
I was
gonna,
like, you don't
I'll
go
wait
west
till
of
she goes.
170.
Yeah, exactly. The
Yeah.
next time she dings somewhere close to civilization, I'll come and fill up your kettle.
Yeah, no, it was really cool. The Salvation Army
Good for
does
you,
great
though.
work. And
That's
yeah.
awesome that you went and did that.
Oh, like I said, I was humbled by the generosity of all
Did you
the
tell me
people
that
there.
Charlie Brennan's going to be out there dinging that bell today?
Yeah, no, I sometime this week. It's not at that
Okay.
one though.
Well, maybe
It's at a
we'll get it
different
out there.
location.
Maybe he'll post it on his
Twitter
account or whatever. And if maybe I'll
Yeah.
talk Hancock into going and dinging the bell this Friday.
I think
somewhere.
if Hancock and Kelly did that, I'm showing up. Hey, he's Michael Colley. I'm Amy Mark. Scores a really interesting conversation that Brian Williams, the reporter from a few years ago now, that he had about the current state of the Democratic Party. I wanted to ask my good friend Michael Kelly about it. It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Those are marshmallow clouds being friendly in the arms of the evergreen trees.
Our story is about a people, a city, and a legendary river that runs through it. It lives in the St. Louis Post-Dispatch. It's the story of St. Louis. Now you can get the news that brings us together in the palm of your hand with the St. Louis Post-Dispatch app. Get breaking news alerts that keep you on top of St. Louis's biggest stories, local weather to help you prep for that next storm, video and podcasts that let you hear directly from newsmakers. Download the St. Louis Post-Dispatch app wherever you get your apps.
This is Bernie Miklas. If you'd like to build a home, consider Fisher & Fritchel, a local family-owned company that receives numerous awards for its legendary quality and exceptional customer service. In 2024, they received the Torch Award from the Better Business Bureau and were voted Best Residential Builder by readers of the Post-Dispatch. They're currently building stunning homes and detached villas in Cottleville, Forestel, Lake St. Louis, O'Fallon, and St. Peters, or they can build a home on your land. For details, visit fnfhomes.com.
Last year, flu and COVID hospitalized nearly 1 million adults 65 and older. That's nearly 1 million men, women, parents, grandparents, chess players, checkers players, and chess players who are so bad at chess, they really should stick to checkers. So if you're one of these people, or not, get this season's flu and COVID vaccines so you can keep being the totally unique person you are, whoever that is.
Risk less, do more. Get started at vaccines.gov. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
At 12:30, we've got some sun. It's 50 downtown at the Arch. Consumers stepped up their spending at retail stores last month, providing a boost to the economy in the early phases of the winter holiday shopping season. Retail sales rose 0.7% in December, the Commerce Department says, a solid increase and higher than October's 0.5% gain. And the forecast for this afternoon, sunshine mixes with clouds, high 58. For tonight, clouds, a couple of showers, low 41. Breezy and chillier tomorrow with the high temperature 45. Sponsored by Gloria Lou with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Sell your home with trust, confidence, and written guarantees. Gloria Lou with Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty is St. Louis's real estate expert. Visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. It's 50 downtown at the Arch. I'm Michael Calhoun, KMOX News.
Broadcasting from the Underline Three Lawyers. GetJim.com studios.
KMOX. This year, Christmas meets the Beatles. You're invited to Let It Be Christmas, the rock opera that tells the Christmas story entirely with classic Beatles songs. It's a St. Louis holiday tradition, now in its 15th season. Yes, here comes the fun. Performances are December 19, 20, and 21 at the beautiful Kirkwood Performing Arts Center. Let It Be Christmas, the gospel of Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, Paul, George, and Ringo. Tickets available now at MetroTix or the K-Pack box office.
Discover the only true luxury Genesis experience at the first and only standalone Genesis dealership in Missouri, Genesis of St. Charles. True luxury isn't just built, it's engineered with precision and passion. When it comes to unparalleled service and luxury, accept no substitutes. Genesis of St. Charles is ranked in the top 10% of all dealers in the country. Treat yourself to the exclusive Genesis experience, because true luxury deserves its own stage. See for yourself. Visit Genesis of St. Charles today, based on GMA sales records.
Prescription products require completion of an online medication consultation with an independent healthcare provider through the LifeMD platform and are only available if prescribed. Subscription required. Individual results may vary. Additional restrictions apply at lifemd.com. Read all warnings before using GLP-1s. Side effects may include a risk of thyroid C-cell tumors. Do not use GLP-1s if you or your family have a history of thyroid cancer.
Should GLP-1 weight loss medication like Wegovy and Zepbound cost hundreds of dollars? We don't think so. TryLifeMD.com helps provide insurance access to the leading GLP-1 medications. Visit TryLifeMD.com and check your eligibility for GLP-1 medication with copays as low as $0. Listen to Tara's story after losing 42 pounds.
You just take your shot. It doesn't feel like you're on a diet. What I wasn't expecting it to do was to shut off the food noise. I'd gone from 237 to 195. This was life altering. And if I can do it, I feel like anybody can do it.
Get started right now and check your eligibility for GLP-1 medication with copays as low as $0 at TryLifeMD.com. That's TryLifeMD.com.
At Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, every moment with our patients is a gift. Thanks to supporters like you, children have hope as they fight serious illness and reach incredible milestones. Please donate today at treeofhope.org.
Bernie Nicholas gets the final word during sports on a Sunday morning. Hear what he has to say on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
City sidewalks, busy sidewalks.
Michael Kelly, Amy Marks scores with you on a Tuesday. And Michael, I saw an interesting interview with Brian Williams on Late Night with Seth Meyers.
State senator from St. Louis?
Not that Brian Williams.
Okay.
The NBC Nightly News.
Oh, yeah, NBC Nightly
Brian
News, and then
Williams.
later MSNBC. Sure.
Yes. And I know the whole Iraq helicopter fabrication story. I get it. Not great. But we all know who Brian Williams is. He was interviewed on Late Night with Seth Meyers, and he had what the Seth Meyers show was calling some tough love for the Democratic Party.
I think it's insulting when members of the working class, which the Democratic Party has lost entirely in our lifetimes, to insist the economy is doing great. A 12-pack of Bounty is $40. Rich folks don't feel that. Poor folks already switched to Sparkle during the COVID, during the lockdown. And I think telling them that the NASDAQ is gangbusters is further insulting. It's insulting. I think the biggest unforced error of the Biden administration by far was the border. To tell people it's not a problem is insulting. For the working class to see incoming migrants getting welcome bags, debit cards, and motel rooms is probably insulting as well. So there's a lot of work to do.
And Michael, that was part of him explaining what went wrong with the Democratic Party. And I thought what he said, I do think rings true to me. How does that strike you?
Well, yes. I mean, of course, it's hard to argue with the results of the election that we've seen. And as somebody who comes out of the labor wing of the Democratic Party, it's especially hard to see working people abandoning the Democratic Party because, quite honestly, I don't think the Republican Party has earned their support. Now, there may be things that workers like, whether it be the immigration issue or the tax cuts and stuff that Republicans continue to talk about. But when it comes to the protection of workers' rights, it's just the evidence isn't there that the Republicans do it. Having said that, perception's a reality in this business that we're in, and this Democratic Party is going through a rebuild to try to figure out what it's going to be and where it's headed. And I think part of it is to be defined, Amy, on the success or failure of Donald Trump. And what do I mean by that? I don't necessarily mean rooting against Donald Trump being able to solve issues. I think the real question is will Donald Trump be able to deliver on any of the promises that he made? He threw out some huge promises. He was going to do away with tax on tips. He was going to do away with tax on Social Security. He's going to impose these huge tariffs and bring the cost of groceries down. He was going to get salaries back up. He was going to get Mexico to pay for a wall. We were going to deport all these people, and it's going to have. So there's a lot that folks bought into from the working class, former Democrats, who've bought into the ideas of Donald Trump. And if he goes forward and does what he did this past week, where he says, hey, I'm not going to be able to lower the price of groceries, but guess what? I'm going to bring that corporate tax rate down. I think that's where the rubber's going to hit the road for the Democrats. If Donald Trump delivers on the promises he made during this campaign, he has a chance to put a stake in the Democratic Party's heart. if it looks and appears to be what many of his detractors say it will be, problematic for working people, and that he'll abandon some of those promises, the Democratic Party has an opportunity to earn back working voters.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Brian Williams makes a case as to where we're at, though, for sure.
Yeah, I do too. And I think I've never read the book, What's the Matter with Kansas? It's a best-selling book by Thomas Frank. And he was on the Smirkonish podcast, and they had a really interesting conversation. And they talk very frankly about where they feel the Democratic Party went wrong. Because Thomas Frank wrote an op-ed in the New York Times called "The Elites Had It Coming." And I see that the Democratic Party shifted away from being the average American, the working American, to this very elite academic group.
Yeah, and they became a party. We've become a party that fights for the exception and not the rule. What do I mean by that? The transgender sports thing. Yeah, I actually don't think we ought to be messing with these kids, but that's become a battleground issue when rates for people's insurance continues to go up. And it felt as though, at least this is what I would hear in union halls and from working people who say to me, man, you all are out for the weird people. What about me? What about me, man? Stuff's going up. It's costing me more. Oh, yeah, I got more in my last negotiations with UPS, but I'm paying more for healthcare. My kid's dentist, braces cost more. And so that's where I think the Democratic Party's kind of lost its way with a lot of workers out there. They feel like you're out fighting for the criminal in the city rather than the victim. And I think it's a culmination of all of that. And it's also being a part of the party that was in charge for quite some time. Now, we came after those 4 years of Donald Trump, and Joe Biden became an alternative people wanted. Well, now Donald Trump's going to have to deliver on these things. And I think the fate of the Democratic Party may rest in whether or not he's able to be successful in some of these major promises he made.
Yeah, and I think that's it was a miss on the Democratic Party. And like I said, Thomas Frank on the Smirkonish podcast, he was asked, or he said in his op-ed, everyone has a moment when you first realize that Donald Trump might well return. And then he explained his. And he was at a museum, and it was, an American museum looking at the founding of our country. And someone was explaining to him, well, this is settler colonialism and it's bad and so forth and so forth. And he's like, this is not how most Americans are viewing the country as a whole. Absolutely, the country has sins and stains that need to be remembered and condemned and move forward from that. But to say that America as a whole is irredeemable or that it's evil as a country, when you have people from all over the world trying to get here for a life where you do have so much freedom, where you do have an opportunity to succeed, it wasn't resonating with people, with voters. And it was kind of interesting because what Trump was able to tap into was like what you said, kind of what the average person, the average worker was feeling, whether it was the price of groceries, yes, or even pride in being an American. So he had Trump had a really warm welcome this past weekend at the Army-Navy game. And he was there with Daniel Penny. Daniel Penny was the former Marine who was just acquitted, right, in this charge of murdering a guy on the subway who some people, it said like, well, he was a beloved New Yorker, but he also had, a criminal record, and he was threatening to kill people on the subway. And Daniel Penny said, I could not have lived with myself if I had let this man who was threatening people on the subway to continue to take out those actions. You don't know nowadays, as we talked about, there's shootings, there's violence. And so a lot of people felt that way about Daniel Penny. Like, hey, this guy was threatening him, and he was trying to stop people from getting hurt. And I say all of that because President Trump was there with Daniel Penny. He was at the Army-Navy game. He's at a football game. He, love him or hate him, he knows how to appear relatable, even though technically he shouldn't be relatable. He has those moments that I think resonate with people.
Well, he's a marketer and he's riding a wave. I mean, he just won an election. I mean, he's the first Republican to win the popular vote since I can't even remember. Ronald Reagan, George Bush's dad, I think, was the last person. Maybe George W. Bush won the popular vote. vote. But I mean, it's a huge thing. You couple that with the fact that clearly his messaging is on par where most Americans are right now. I think he's riding a wave. I mean, but Amy, like all of this stuff, you know, I'm hopeful that Donald Trump's going to be successful. I'm hopeful that these next 4 years will not be as chaotic as his previous 4 years. But all I can do is look at the evidence that's stacked in front of me. And the evidence is that this happiness and this focused approach that Donald Trump right now has won't last. And that makes me a bit nervous.
Yeah. And I think you're kind of seeing some of the chaos even within his selections for his administration. And sometimes it kind of works out okay, right? Where Marco Rubio could be a good Secretary of State.
I think he will be.
And Elise Stefanik, I think she's a great person to be the United States representative ambassador to the UN. The UN is messed up. It is corrupt. It nominates leaders from Iran and Libya on the Women's Rights Committee. What in the world are you talking about? So if Elise Stefanik can stand up to the UN, good on her. But even with the Matt Gaetz nomination for Attorney General, it turns into a circus and it's kind of exhausting. So hopefully the person who ends up being Attorney General is someone admirable. We don't know what's going on with the Secretary of Defense, with Pete Hegseth. And that is kind of that chaos that comes along with Trump. And like I said, sometimes it works out where a pick is, okay, this is a good pick.
Right.
But it's a little exhausting on the way there.
I don't know that he'll have the success to. Do you remember when he said, I'm going to do infrastructure, I'm going to have a healthcare replacement plan and he kept punting that down the road? I don't think he's going to be able to do that on Social Security taxes, taxing tips. A lot of these things he made some huge commitments on. And I think while he's got an impressive coalition of people behind him, I think it's people who are expecting him to accomplish this stuff. And some of it, I don't know how accomplishable it is, and that their votes truly were predicated on it. So it could be interesting to watch.
I know it's good for our country is to have a healthy Republican Party and a healthy Democratic Party. And I know things have gone off the rails. Michael, do you see the Democratic Party regrouping?
I hope. I mean, listen, I believe government should play a role in helping those who can't help themselves. That's the reason I'm a Democrat. I don't think government should play a role in every aspect of our lives. You know, it's been lonely the last couple of years to be a voice for traditional Democratic Party politics, which is what I've been. That's not what's been ruling our party. It's been this progressive movement. It's been even harder to sit and watch it erode your city and be a naysaying voice against it, where you almost become an outcast inside your own party. But there is some validation that's coming back now after these elections, that the synopsis of what we're dealing with is what most of us have been saying the whole time, which is, wait a minute, let's get focused back to the basics of government. Let's pave the roads. Let's keep people safe. Let's put bad people in jail. Let's pick up the trash. Let's do the basics of government. And then when we have an ability to play a role in helping those who can't help themselves, we'll do it. And I think that's hopefully where this Democratic Party will get back to, rather than going out and fighting to put prosecutors in who don't want to put anybody in jail, or to come up with another program on how people won't be able to have to work, or how we can redistribute wealth. That's just not the Democratic Party that I was born into, that I've been a part of. And by the way, the party that I think is coming back needs to be a party that's focused on working issues as a whole, not the individual as an exception.
He's Michael Kelly. I'm Amy Mark Scores. A few more minutes on the Chris and Amy show before we hand things over to the Glover show. This is KMOX.
Hear them ring. Soon it'll be Christmas Day.
Hey, it's Brady Cook, quarterback at Mizzou, for Macadoodle's Darden Prairie, where wine tastings happen all day and friends are made when the door opens. Macadoodle's has everything from fan-favorite California cabs to interesting wines from the old world. A wide selection of bourbon and tequila, and basically every spirit you can imagine. Whether you need to stock up the liquor cabinet for your next party or you're having a cozy night in with a bottle of wine, Macadoodles has you covered. The friendliest staff in town. Come visit Macadoodles on Bryan Road, just north of the Page Extension in St. Charles County.
KMOX welcomes Trans-Siberian Orchestra and their monumental tour, The Lost Christmas Eve, this Wednesday night at 7 p.m. for one spectacular show at Enterprise Center. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. A portion of the proceeds benefits Sightman Kids at St. Louis Children's Hospital. TSO, timeless and everlasting. Don't miss Trans-Siberian Orchestra's The Lost Christmas Eve, produced by Live Nation. Get more information at KMOX.com/events. If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com.
It doesn't matter what they have to climb over, walk through, or move out of the way. All you have to do is point.
If it's under the house, in the attic, or in the top of a tree, all you have to do is point.
If it's broken, if it's heavy, if it cannot be explained, all you have to do is point.
We're sending you an expert truck team from the world's largest and most highly trained
full-service junk removal company.
So please, don't try to help them.
To see the magic,
all you have to do
is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Getting quality employees to fill positions in your company is essential, but finding those people can be a major hassle, unless you use ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter makes finding quality people a breeze. And right now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. With ZipRecruiter, one click sends your job to hundreds of top job sites. But more than that, ZipRecruiter's advanced technology identifies the candidates with the skills you need, sends you a list of great matches to review, then actively invites them to apply for your job. And the results speak for themselves. 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. That's right, the first day. Now you can focus on your business and let ZipRecruiter do the work finding the best people for you. See for yourself. Experience the ease, efficiency, and power of ZipRecruiter for free. Just go to ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hi, my name is Christina Straight, the owner of Straight Realty, and I'm asking you, what do you want in a realtor? Do you want experience? I've been a broker for over 21 years. Do you want to know how much I've sold? I've sold over $500 million, yes, $1 billion with a B, in sales. Do you want value? I now list properties for only 2%. So, if you're looking for all these things and want the best, then call me 314-441-4444. Why pay more than 2? You can also listen to my podcast on my website, straightrealty.com.
Commissions are not regulated and negotiable. Straight Realty is a licensed broker in the state of Missouri.
I'm Tom Ackerman with this month's Sightman Cancer Center Spotlight. This month, we are focusing on prostate cancer, and joining me is Dr. Vikas Prasad.
At the Sightman Cancer Center, you're taken in hand, right from the first stage of the diagnosis until even in the advanced stages, where we can sometimes offer you some very advanced level clinical trials.
Special thanks to Sightman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer. For more information, go to sightman.wustl.edu.
SNL Coin. We buy gold and silver coins, silver and gold jewelry. Also buying gold-filled and silver plates. Before you sell, call SNL 314-544-3600. 314-544-3600. SNL Coin.
Tune in to the Home Improvement Show, sponsored by Mosby Building Arts, Saturdays 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on KMOX for expert advice on remodeling, design, and construction. This live Q&A show begins at 11 a.m. or find podcasts at mosbybuildingarts.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
At Onder Law, we deliver big judgments for the little guy. Onder Law takes on the biggest industries and holds them accountable. Call today for a free review at 314 or 618-9000000.
I'm Frank Ladd. This is KMOX, the voice of St. Louis.
Save all the rain. Are you listening?
Congratulations to Michael from Wentzville. Michael from Wentzville has won himself a pair of tickets to the Cardinals winter warm-up. And if you did not win today, it's okay. You have a chance to win tomorrow. Although, like I say every week, you might want to panic at this point. You only have 3 days left, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday.
Oh, to get free tickets?
Yeah.
But if you buy a ticket right now,
Mhm.
you know, and not bank on the free ones,
Yeah.
you're guaranteed
You
a
are.
chance to go, and you're not going to pay some inflated price at a later time.
Later time. Right. You can just buy
So
tickets.
Either get your free ticket from us,
Yeah.
but have a backup plan.
I think that's a great idea. I've just been telling people to panic.
Panic?
Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Because
Well-
most people are going to lose a contest.
Yeah.
It's almost cruel.
Yeah.
We tell people to call in. Everyone's going to lose but one person.
Uh-huh.
I think it's anxiety inducing
Uh-huh.
because people are disappointed. Now there's only 3 days left. I think having a backup plan, which is just to buy tickets, that's a great idea.
Yeah, and even if it's just you're a couple and you think you're going to get one, but you're not positive by winning here at KMOX, which, by the way, you have to know the contest line, which who knows that? I've been
I
here
know
20-something years, never knew we had a contest line.
You don't check your email.
Of course I
You
don't.
didn't know about the Christmas party.
Yeah, no. Let's be clear about this. Hancock and Kelly, we've been here longer than anybody who's on the station right now as a host. I can tell you that. But we don't do the email. We do our email through our company.
Yeah.
So the important stuff comes to us. So, but I did not know we had a contest line, which is 955-1120.
But don't call it now
because we're not giving anything
We're not
away.
giving it. We already gave them away. That's why you need to panic. Listen tomorrow. Listen all day tomorrow to our show, and you might have a chance to win. Have you ever?
So that was my first time talking to Bernie Miklos today.
Yeah.
I liked it. I like him.
Yeah.
I mean, I
You've
was
never
afraid.
talked
You know,
to
like
Bernie Miklos?
No, I was intimidated by Bernie. You know,
Yeah.
like Bernie, he's like
A legend.
Yeah, and he's the professorial voice of sports in St. Louis. Who am I, a man who couldn't tell you who our center fielder is right now, to be asking Bernie Miklos, a question?
How many syllables did you put? It's Miklas.
Miklas.
Yeah.
Miklas. No, I guess it's the way I read it is Miklas, but it's Miklas.
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 Bernie Miklas.
Like Nicholas, but Miklas.
Like
No,
Saint Nicholas.
There's no O. It's not Miklas.
Right.
It's Miklas.
Yeah.
Nicholas.
Nicholas.
Bernie Miklas.
I did it. Okay, so anyway, it was really cool to get to talk to Bernie Miklas.
There you go.
I kind of, it was like the first time I got to talk to Tom Ackerman.
Oh, that
my
was
gosh.
my first moment of like being a total fangirl and realizing I'm in Studio B in
Mhm.
KMOX. I was a guest. I wasn't on KMOX yet. I was a guest because of a book that I had written. So they were interviewing me about my book. And I walk in and it's sports on a Sunday morning. And Tom Ackerman is sitting there at the microphone with a paper newspaper, right? Opened up and a cup of coffee.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh my gosh, this is
This
where
is
the
the real
magic
deal.
happens. This is the real deal.
Did
This
he
is
look as dapper as he always does?
He's always dapper.
Uh-huh.
He's always dapper. And he's a young guy because he's been at KMOX for over half his life.
Like he and Michael Calhoun were born here in a petri dish.
They were.
And they put them on the radio at like when they first were able to speak.
Right. Like 4 years
Yeah,
old.
4 or 5 years
Michael Kelly and Tom Ackerman because
Michael Calhoun.
Michael Calhoun, sorry, and Tom Ackerman. Because people who've never met Tom Ackerman,
Mhm.
and then maybe you've never seen him and you meet him for the first time, you're like, oh my gosh,
Yeah.
he's so young, but he's been doing this for so long.
And like Bob Costas and like Jack Buck and like all the people who've had that job before, he's well beyond his years and
Yeah.
experience, etc. And then the guy is everywhere. I
Oh.
literally will go see a Dave Matthews concert or a Grateful Dead concert, or I'm at the Fox Theater, and who do I stumble into more from KMOX than any other place is Tom Ackerman.
Yep.
I'm like, what are you, like a genie, dude?
He is. No,
Are
he
you
never
just
sleeps
everywhere?
because he anchors Total Information AM. He'll do like the Gas House Gang.
Right.
He's calling college basketball. Oh, he's hosting the Jack Buck Awards. Wait a minute, he's doing TV for the St. Louis Cardinals. He really is a man who doesn't sleep. And
He's who we
it's
should
incredible.
feel. He makes me feel like a lesser human.
Well,
I put him in
that's
that
his goal.
superhuman category.
Yeah.
He's just like one of these guys that, of course, Tom Ackerman can do it. You know what? Tom Ackerman wakes up in the morning and his breath doesn't stink like the rest of us.
He's
he
the
doesn't
Chuck
get
Norris
morning
of
breath.
radio.
Yeah, he's just Tom Ackerman.
He's the Chuck Norris of radio.
I had fun with you this week.
We've got a nice comment on Facebook from Megan. She says, I'm voting for Amy and Michael Kelly. Awesome duo. Michael has integrity, and they are great examples of bipartisanship. Chris just throws insults.
Thank you, Megan. That's an awesome.
I had fun
comment.
with you this week.
I have so much fun. The
I'm
original.
sorry you have to go back to the normal.
We'll see what
I'll
maybe
come in Friday and check on you.
we should send him on more
Yeah,
vacations.
give you 2 days with him, and I'll check on you on Friday, and then you can decide whether the beginning of the week or the end of the week better.
I appreciate it. Thank you, Michael Kelly.
Bye.
I'm Amy Mark Scores. Hey, we're handing it over to the Glover Show. We're going to stick around for an hour. It's the Chris and Amy Show on KMOX.
Call JD Wentworth. 877 cash now.
For eligible individuals 18 and older with self-perceived mild to moderate hearing